Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right. Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Okay, hey, so it's Saturday. You know what that means, right? It's Saturday.
Saturday.
You said you're not working. That means you
That's-
know it's Saturday.
Saturday's night's a Blockbuster night.
That's right. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Saturday night is a block. Let's make it a Blockbuster night.
That's right. That was a good ad campaign they had.
Not only that, but it was a way of life. It was an ad
was.
campaign that became a truth because... What was the line like at your Blockbuster on a Saturday night?
Insane.
Right?
Like, really insane. You'd have a very, very long line that would seem never-ending, and you'd have every register open.
Yeah.
And it was just a constant flow of people.
I used to tell people that they would bring, they go, how busy was it? I'd say, well, families would come in and somebody would get in line
and wait while you went and looked.
Everybody then would choose their video,
Yeah.
and then get back in line and let Dad go out and choose his video, right?
It's true.
Okay, so hey, that's 91 Reasons. I'm Jeff. I have Austin in the room.
Hello.
And then we have Jeff DEPAOLI here, guest on the show.
Yeah.
You do your own podcast.
I do. Disney Coast to Coast is the name of my podcast.
Disney Coast to Coast. How's that show going?
It's going very well. We're in our 4th season, and it keeps growing, which is great.
How many shows do you do a season?
About 48. We do every Wednesday, and then we take from like mid-December to mid-January. We have a hiatus, and then we come back and every Wednesday.
That's a big roster of shows.
Yes, we've got a lot of shows at this point. I actually don't know the number, but it's been a while.
That's almost almost 100 and 200, 206, 160?
Yeah, by the end of this season, it should be around 200. Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever think when you started that you'd get to that number, or that you'd even have enough to talk about?
That was the one thing that scared me, was will we have enough to talk about? And this season actually brought in some other co-hosts, and we have other types of segments, so that it's not just the Disney news. It's kind of talking about all the different things that we like. But yeah, it's incredible how much Disney news there is out there. And
Well, it's not only that, but from my experience, talking and doing well at it and having good things to talk about begets more talking.
yes,
Because somebody will go, you didn't mention this, and you go, oh my God, that's
Exactly.
a whole nother episode.
for sure, yeah.
So that's amazing. Well, congrats. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
4 years.
So, well, 4th season. By next, I guess February would be 4 years on the dot. So yeah.
Wow. Because here's the thing. Guys like us who do this show, there's not hardly any money, if any, in it.
Yeah.
In fact, it costs.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that I give up so much because I want to do this show and I have this drive to do a show so that, like, they're watching a movie on the couch and I'm like, where's Dad going? He's going out back to edit, you know? We were just talking about how long it takes to edit shows and what a hassle.
Well, and ours is video as well.
Oh,
so
that's a whole nother headache.
It is a whole other thing. So we got the audio version and we've got the video version, and that makes even more work for yourself. But I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. I actually really eventually want to start doing even more podcasts. I have a lot of things I'm passionate about. But for now, I'm focusing.
And you say that because you're in a niche. You're a Disney podcast. Disney coast to coast podcast.
Yep.
So you can't just come on and go, well, today I'm going to talk about Superman.
Nope, it's just Disney. I mean, we go on tangents for sure, and we will mention the competition, like
Well, yeah,
Universal
we
and
have
whatever.
to.
But yeah, no, it's strictly Disney, and it goes. But there's so much now in Disney. There's Marvel, there's
they own
Star
everything.
Wars, there's theme parks, there's movies, there's TV, there's video games, there's everything.
We were just talking earlier. Today they're in the Avatar business.
That's right. That's
So
right.
Disney's gobbling up everything.
It's true. It's a little scary, actually.
I never thought, and this begets a whole episode. I never thought that Disney would become the purveyor of pop culture. They own everything that spreads out, with the exception of like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But like every kind of superhero brand and now space brand and princess brand and every kind of ethnicity of doll they have, you know? It's just amazing how diversified their portfolio is, so that you really, if you want to engage in pop culture, you're going to deal with Disney.
Everybody is a Disney fan at this point.
That's insane.
Some division of Disney you're a fan of. There's no question about that. But it's interesting to me how like they kind of compete with themselves now as far as opening weekends for movies.
There's only so many weekends in the year, right?
Exactly. There's so like come the holidays, they'll have a superhero movie and an animated one. And
that's why the summer season has been moved to March and April.
It's incredible.
Because there's so many movies that have to come out. Like I was looking, like in May we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Alien Covenant and Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Like in past summers, those would be spaced out farther apart simply because of screens.
Yeah.
Who's going to get those kind of screens? But like, what do you do when there's that many movies in the pipeline?
I know I guess it's a good problem.
Pirates 5.
I will say I'm not really a fan of the Pirates films. I saw the first one, and of course at the time it was super.
The first
cool.
one's great.
Yeah, it was fun. Beyond that, I started to hate them. This new one, the trailer actually looks kind of interesting to me. Of the sequels, I'm like, this actually doesn't look terrible.
I know, but it's funny that they're counting on Orlando Bloom's face for me to go, oh my God, I've got to go see it. That doesn't resonate with me in any single way ever.
Well, you heard their awesome marketing thing that they did just last week,
I
right?
think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Describe what did they do?
So at Disneyland, one night, Captain Jack Sparrow, who is normally an animatronic figure, was replaced by an actor named Johnny Depp in the role full costume.
In the ride.
Yeah.
Engaging with the boats as they went by.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And of course, social media blew up over this.
Well, that's what it's designed to do.
Exactly.
But that being said, that's a brilliant marketing move. Because you know why I like it? Because it's fun. Yeah. And I love fun, because I even saw he came out the front of the ride and talked to the guests who weren't fortunate enough to see him in the ride.
I am convinced he is far more comfortable as Captain Jack Sparrow than as himself.
I agree with you 100%.
I've seen him so many times, like at the D23 Expo and stuff. He's always in that costume. He loves wearing that thing. He loves being that character. He said it before. He'll do as many of them as they want, because he just loves being that character.
Well, I know that when he goes to children's hospitals, the only rule he has is he needs to stay as long as the children want him there. And they can't like say, go see this kid. He just has to meander through the hallways.
Yeah.
And you're like, Mr. Depp, you can do whatever you want. And not because he's Mr. Depp, but because if you watch the children, the faces of the children are priceless. Because to them, the movie has come to life.
Yeah.
You know, if someone had told me the sick kids are getting to see Marty McFly, I'd have started coughing.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I'd be really jealous. These kids, and these poor children who have these terminal diseases, you can tell, but for the moment, they don't. They're healthy.
Yeah.
The glow has gone from Johnny to them, and there's something really touching about that. And I've actually watched those clips more times than I should.
Yeah.
Because they really make me feel good. Now he did this
Alice in Wonderland
last year. Yes.
And I saw Rachel in the
Rachel
video,
is
right?
talking to him
Yeah.
on the billboard. Now this was different because he was, I think, in England.
Oh, I thought he was just backstage at Disneyland.
No, he was live via satellite anywhere, somewhere around the world. But this one was different. To get him in the ride, in costume, and try to keep it a secret, God bless him.
Yeah, and they did, from what I actually did see some people who just happened to be on the ride.
Well, of course, yes.
And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure you got a tip about that, but in general, most people had no idea, and it was awesome.
I think it's great because the movie came from a ride.
Yeah.
And then the ride was changed to reflect the movie.
Rather tastefully, in my opinion.
Yeah, and now we're full circle where the actor who came from the ride is in the ride as the character. I mean, it's just so many Inception moments in there that I think is great, and shows what a good sport
he
Depp
loves
is.
it. He loves Disney parks. He loves Disney Imagineering, like he's very involved in the process of them making his animatronic and such, and it's such like the stark opposite of Harrison Ford when they're doing Indiana Jones.
Can you imagine?
And it's just like no. So it's
You imagine Harrison Ford next summer or the summer after is in the Indiana Jones ride in costume, and he's just going, "What do you guys want? I'm trying to sit here. Another car going by." Just like a complete jerk, you know?
Yeah, so it's cool that Johnny Depp's so cool about it.
Like, I never would imagine Johnny Depp being handed a Pirates of the Caribbean Lego set and then destroying it.
Did Harrison Ford
He
do
did that on the Jimmy Fallon
Jimmy
show?
Kimmel or something?
No,
Yeah,
it was
Jimmy
on Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
With a Millennium Falcon, right?
Or like the $500 ones.
Yeah.
The worst part was the Metacom doll. He hands him a Metacom doll that's like, what, $600-700?
Yeah.
And he says, could you demonstrate to us what happened on set with your leg? And he says, well, it kind of went like this, and he broke the leg off the doll,
Now,
tore the head off, and just destroyed it.
We know this is part of the gag. There's no way somebody's Falcon that he spent a month putting together and then Harrison Ford destroys, and that's okay. We know it's part of the thing. The thing that got me, though, was he looked happy doing it nonetheless. He's not a happy man.
It's an expensive joke, I'll give you that.
Yeah. Real fun. Very funny, Mr. Ford. Very funny. But
so from what I heard, there were cameras, beyond the social media stuff, shooting Johnny Depp doing this. So I don't know if we're gonna find it in a DVD or what, or if it's gonna be part of marketing.
There were signs saying they were filming for something. Are they gonna use this in the film somewhere?
No, it won't be in the film, but it could be a special feature.
I could see it on the DVD.
Yeah.
Sure, the Blu-ray.
But I think marketing's...
I'm back.
Rachel's back.
Howdy.
Are we still talking Blockbuster?
No, we're talking Johnny
Didn't
Depp.
sound
We were
like
talking.
it. I
You
heard
met
Johnny Depp.
You met Johnny Depp.
I did, but I didn't get to do the ride through that he just did.
That's what we're
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But you talked to. What did you tell him?
Oh God,
I love your
remember.
nails or something.
I just
he was
remember
okay
seeing
with
that
that.
video on Facebook. I'm like, I know her.
Well, the weirdest thing about that video, I mean, how many videos have we done? And I mean, this one, I guess because it was seen by so many people,
Yeah.
I couldn't go anywhere. I went to Josie's school, and the crosswalk lady's going, I saw you in a video. I go in the grocery store, weren't you in that video? And like strangers. It was so weird. It was a 2-second...
It was basically your Kim Kardashian
It is
moment.
only because I have the brightest red hair that like ever, Little Mermaid hair, that it stood out. That people are like, you were the one in that Johnny Depp video. If I hadn't had the hair, I would have just been a
Well,
flash.
I tell people all the time that
With the hair.
you waited overnight to see the stars of Twilight at
Why
Comic
do you always
Con.
gotta bring that up?
Wait, wait,
You're
wait.
just trying to shame me.
No, I'm not.
You are.
Let me
I
finish
like
the
Twilight,
story.
it's okay.
So you waited over. We're gonna do a whole Twilight episode. Don't worry.
That's
so
fine,
you
'cause
waited
I'm gonna tell you
overnight.
all the reasons why that was one of the best books to this day I've still read.
We're not talking Twilight. This is just
Okay.
the jumping off
He
point.
just likes to like
So,
rouse me about Twilight.
13 hours later, when I finally saw you again, I said, well, was the Twilight thing everything was meant to be, supposed to be? And you said, I saw Johnny Depp, and he
Okay.
was glowing.
It was Johnny Depp. Let's just put that out there.
Johnny Depp.
And you're right. I've met one other star that did that to me. You know that moment where you see them and you swear there's like an aura around them?
I know, but
You're,
enough, honey, the people are
"Oh,"
tired of
and
hearing
there's-
about me.
No, seriously, it's happened twice. One actor and one actress. Johnny Depp, for sure. The second, because we didn't know, they didn't tell us he was going to be part of the Hall H panel. We thought we were just seeing a preview for the new Alice in Wonderland because he was going to be in.
And he was glowing.
And he came out, and oh my God, it was freaking Johnny Depp.
Who was the
Twilight
woman that
who?
glowed?
Sigourney Weaver.
yeah.
At the, what was that?
Alien
The
Resurrection premiere.
on the red carpet. She just star. There's just no doubt. Some people are just meant to be a star.
Not Kevin Spacey?
Well, I don't know because I was too busy chasing him
Yeah.
to see the aura. Going to be arrested 2 seconds later. I left my stroller in the aisle with my children and said, Jeff, get him. Because, Kevin Spacey walked that way and I needed to go. It was a need.
Okay, so speaking of stars, there's only one place you could find that many stars in the late 80s and all through the 90s
Yeah.
into the 2000s, and that was
Blockbuster Video.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference. That was the first ad campaign.
Now, I know you worked a video store. Did you work specifically Blockbuster as well?
I worked at a mom and pop video store called Multi Video.
Okay.
Terrible name for a shop. And when I left Multi Video, they had just opened a Blockbuster down the street. So I went over there and I said, I think you guys can hire me. I just worked at Multi Video.
This reminds me of that scene, speaking of Johnny Depp and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Remember? Did you ever see that movie?
It's been a long time.
So he worked at that small little mom and pop grocery store, and the big
Big chain comes in,
and he's very against. Oh, I would never go work for them. And then there's a moment where the boss from the mom and pop store see him walking out of the chain, and that's just what that reminds me.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
leaving the mom and pop video for.
I didn't do it while I worked there. I waited till I quit. I did a whole episode on working at Multivideo because they were mean to us.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest example was they made me work Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you've never been open Christmas Day. The store had been there like 6 or 7 years before I got there.
Yeah.
I said, you're never open Christmas. Why do I have to work Christmas Day? He goes, oh, I'm counting on people not knowing that we're open. That way the next day all the videos are late.
Oh, wow.
I said, you are Scrooge, man.
Yeah.
So when I went down to Blockbuster, I applied at the Bellflower store, which is right by my house. And the lady goes, well, we have an opening for an assistant manager with your qualifications in Hawaiian Gardens. It's a bit of a drive. And I was like, no, I'll take it, sure. And so I worked at the Hawaiian Gardens Blockbuster Video from 90 till probably 92.
Mine was in Woburn, Massachusetts, where I grew up, and it was a couple of, I was in high school, so anytime between 96 and 2000. I did it for like a couple summers, but I loved it.
But you were there during the transition.
The transition to DVD.
That must have been a nightmare.
Well, it was weird because the thing I remember most about it is that, like, of course, Blockbuster's broken up into new releases, action, comedy, and all these different genres. And DVD was a genre because it was just such a small section.
Well, originally it was like 2 shelves up front.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time seeing DVDs was at Suncoast Motion Picture Company.
Funny story about that. I actually worked there as well at the same time, and it was a conflict of interest. But one day I was working Blockbuster and answered the phone. Thanks for calling Suncoast Motion Picture Company, and it was like the district manager.
Oh.
And I was like,
they weren't amused.
They weren't amused. But,
Did you have to do because we used to do the. Thank you for calling Blockbuster Video, where you can pre-order the Jungle Book for only $17.99.
I had to do that for Suncoast. I didn't have to do that for Blockbuster, but I loved those days. Like Blockbuster, that job was kind of like my Empire Records, like that job.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, anytime you put a group of people in a building like that, where you're all hip and selling movies and you're selling entertainment.
Yeah.
It's not like a grocery store where people come in and go, I need eggs.
Yeah.
People come in and go, have you got that new movie?
Yeah.
You're like, I saved it for you. And you're like, oh, you're the man. It's just one of those. I always explain it like the good customers are great because you're going to see them a lot.
Yeah.
The bad customers are worse because you're going to see them a lot.
Yeah.
And that's tough. We used to have customers like, remember when you'd get their rental card and you'd scan it with the gun. Their screen would come up, and you could see notations that other employees had put on the screen, like, gave him a free rental, complete a-hole, don't give any more free rentals to him.
Yes, I do remember that. I also, the thing I used to love doing was, so remember, I don't know if this went on while you were there, but the rain checks, did they have that? Back when you were working?
If the movie you wanted wasn't in?
Yeah.
No, we didn't do that.
Okay, so...
I know it because we shopped at a Blockbuster right by our house in Riverside up until the day they closed.
Yeah. So I was there at the
Rain
time where the
check.
rain check was there, and you'd have like a huge wall of a new release, Titanic or whatever. I think it was Green Mile when I was there was a big one. And if they did not have it, you simply sit at the counter, I'll take a rain check, and you get it free the next time you come in. And so... very often we would have some that were like just returned, so they'd say we'll take it to rain check, and we were informed, hey, make sure there's not any in the return bin. And so like, oh no, got one right here, no problem. And like, oh, we don't want it anymore.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wanted to pay for it, they just wanted the free movie.
We only wanted it because it was free.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, don't people suck?
Yeah.
But see, when I worked there was no rain check, so what we had was people would come in and they'd go, what the new movie, and I remember the big stupid movie was Navy SEALs.
Oh, wow.
With Michael Biehn, and we had like 30 rental copies of Navy SEALs, a movie I've never even seen. I have no desire to see this crap. And people, you got that movie Navy SEALs? It's checked out. How many are due back today? So I get on there. Well, there's 12 due back today. Now that could be now and midnight, and it's 3 in the afternoon. So they would camp out by the
Oh my
the check-in
goodness.
counter.
That's crazy.
And just stand there. And when people would drop their movies to the slot, they go, "Hey, you want to come check these?" And we'd come check them. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that drove me nuts about Blockbuster, that I was always a Blockbuster kid over Hollywood Video, but the one thing that Blockbuster had that Hollywood Video didn't, do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't know where you're going with
It was the cases. It was the Blockbuster cases. I hated those cases because it didn't have the film artwork on it.
Oh yeah, no,
everything just had the Blockbuster logo and the
with
scan
with a
code.
synopsis on the back.
Yeah, and I hated that because like at Hollywood Video,
Every other store would let you take home a click case where you squeeze it and the movie comes out.
and that's what I prefer so much. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That just felt so much more real to me.
But see, Blockbuster wanted you to take the movie home knowing it came from Blockbuster.
It's true.
Blockbuster was started by an offshoot of people who left McDonald's.
Was it? I think it was owned by Viacom. Was it?
Eventually.
Yeah.
But when it was started, it was people who left McDonald's.
Okay.
So what they brought with them was branding.
Yeah.
Everything was branded. Every spare inch of the store when I started there
Blue and
was
yellow.
blue and yellow,
Yeah.
Blockbuster. The pin said Blockbuster. The card said Blockbuster. Your polo shirt said Well, actually,
I still have one.
when I started there, we wore Oxford dress shirts and khakis.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the day that the polos came in, I was like, oh, short sleeves and comfort for the rest of my tenure here.
Yeah, I kept one of those Blockbuster shirts. I still have it.
Yeah, I had them for a while until the Blockbuster just flaked completely off the side there. And then, like, I was assistant manager, so I had the keys to the place on a Blockbuster keychain that hung on my belt. You know, everything was very perfectly branded, with the kids section. Remember the kids section with toys in it, and you had to go back there all day and put a new movie in.
It got a little out of hand toward the end of my time there. Was like, I always hate it when like you got a good thing and it's their job is videos. That's what we do. So, but then we started having a direct TV. We're trying to sell direct TV.
Yes, I remember that.
And I was like, what does this have to do with what we're doing?
Well, it's because the market kept falling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of digital, because this is pre-digital.
Yeah.
The market for Blockbuster, I'm assuming, fell because people like me, people like you, we just started buying our DVDs.
Yeah.
Why rent it for $4 when if you caught it the day it came out, you could get it for $14 and own it forever?
Yeah, it's it was, I don't know, it worked for so long, and they were the first chain, weren't they?
Yes, they were the first mega big chain of. And up until that point, it was just mom and pop stores.
Yeah, and I just remember, like, it really was an event. Like, if we knew we were going to be having a rainy weekend, if my mom knew that, she's like, okay, we're going to Blockbuster Friday night. And
remember how excited you got as a kid?
Oh my God, I loved it.
Going to Blockbuster.
And you would spend so much time analyzing.
Oh, because you only had one shot at it.
Yeah, and
Once the movie went home with you,
Yeah.
you had it for the weekend.
so
3 evenings.
3 nights, which was, I never understood why people were late after 3 nights. I'm like, really?
Oh, because they thought 3 days, not 3 nights.
Yeah,
and the first night counts. I tell my kids this all the time. They laugh at it because people come in and they go, I think my movies are late. And you're like, well, when did you check them out? Friday? Well, they were due back Sunday.
Yeah.
What's Monday? There's 3 nights. Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. No, sir. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Oh, what the hell? So then you scan them in and then you go, I'm just going to get something else. You go, okay, well, when you come up, you owe $12 before you can even begin to rent. And they would get steam out of their ears. And some of them would rack up. I mean, what's the most you've ever seen rack up? Like a lot of rental, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing insane, but I remember like a $50 owed. And you're like, oh my God, like you could have bought several movies for that.
You kept this thing for 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, people lose them. I mean, there's so many businesses based on people being irresponsible, and that's how they succeed, essentially.
That's a very funny way of putting it.
But that's really what, like even Disney Movie Club or something, where they send you that notice. This is your movie of the month. If you want to decline, and here's the funny thing: I'm a member of that, and they send you something in the mail, like snail mail. And they email you. It's so easy to just say decline.
Yeah.
The fact that business model works blows my mind.
Like you said, it depends on people being
so many people just
lackadaisical about it. You know,
crazy.
that's really funny. When I first started at Blockbuster, we were in a management shift, and I had a really nice manager, really nice lady, and she left, and we got this Middle Eastern guy who was very by the book, and he did this thing because the Blockbuster manager of the store, his bonuses were tied into shrinkage. And shrinkage refers to losing product.
Okay.
Whether to employee theft, shoplifting, or they rent it and it never comes back, it's called shrinkage, right? So this guy Ali would, first off, he would go to people's houses. And he'd go, hello, and he'd go, who are you? I work for the Blockbuster. You have my movie. And the guy's like, what? And he goes, there's no late fees if you give me the movie. If you have it, I'll take it to the store. But see, Ali the late fees were in the computer.
Yeah.
They weren't part of his bonuses. They didn't care about that.
And
they
as
cared
a
about,
manager, you can delete those.
Sure.
Pretty easily.
They cared about, at the time, these movies were between $60 and $80.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about a time when minimum wage was $4. So do the math. That's a lot of money for a video cassette, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing he did, and this I hated. Now, if he's going to go out and get shot at somebody's door, that's not my problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was going to get us shot. You had to sign up with a credit card.
Oh.
A lot of people would sign up with electrical bill,
Mm-hmm.
but he would go right for those ones that had a credit card. Now, this is before everybody's ATM card was a credit card.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to have a credit card. It was a separate account from your bank account, right?
Yeah.
He would find people who had $30, $40 of late fees where he would just sell them the tape.
Yeah.
And we have their credit card number. So we would punch it in to the point of sale machine. Doot, 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 doot. Now, 8 out of 10 times, it would decline. Because somebody who's not going to return your video is not going to keep up.
Yeah.
Or they had a credit card for a week and they never paid their bill. But those other 2 times, it would go and give you an approval number.
And you'd pay you'd charge the
$80.
Wow.
And we would write it down in the register and put it in. And I would go, Ali, that guy's coming in tomorrow or today.
Yeah.
And we're going to get destroyed. And sure enough, man, you could hear the car in the parking lot, right? And remember, Blockbuster had the doors that were like a bank.
Yeah.
They were designed to be difficult so that you couldn't... some of them, like the one I worked at, had a door and then another door.
Yeah, I think we had 2 doors.
So
yeah.
4 doors
Yeah.
to get in and out. And they would pull that door open, blam! You're like, oh, here it comes. I want to talk to the manager. I go, Ali is right there. How dare you? $80! I have your... blam! Here's your tape. Ali would
Then
go.
they find it, yeah.
Ali would go, this is your tape now, sir. Like, just... Ali was a piece of work, man. And he was my boss until his dog... He tripped over his dog, and he fell down the stairs.
Oh, my
and he
goodness.
broke his back.
Oh, my.
And they came to me and they said, Ali's going to be out at 6 to 8 weeks, and we need you to cover. I said, what does that mean? They said, need you to open and close every day for 6 to 8 weeks. And I was a salaried employee, 19 years old, and I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I said, for no overtime? I said, no, I'd rather quit. Well, that'll be your resignation. Then I quit. I walked out the door that day.
Aw.
Because I was a theater geek.
Yeah.
That would have meant no theater because the Blockbuster was open 10 to midnight,
Yeah.
7 days a
They had
week.
crazy hours. I do remember.
Did you work like a Wednesday at midnight and you're like, nobody's coming in here except somebody to rob me?
Yeah, right. It's true. The one thing that I got from Blockbuster Video is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. I ended up seeing because of Blockbuster. And so when you work at Blockbuster, you end up seeing everything you ever wanted to see.
And then some.
This is the end then some.
Yeah.
Because I ran out of stuff I wanted to see, and I'm walking through the what did they call it, not classics, but they had the new release wall, and then they had a term for the stuff in the middle. And
Catalog.
the catalog.
Yeah,
Okay.
catalog titles.
So I was walking through the catalog titles, and I saw the video case to Sunset Boulevard, which I had never seen before, and I just recognized that shot of Norma Desmond on the staircase. And I'm like, what the heck? I'll give this a shot. I brought that movie home, devoured it, and became obsessed with it. One of my favorite movies on earth is I've seen because I ran out of stuff to see at Blockbuster.
And don't you think that with digital and this Netflix algorithm only showing you movies that they think you're going to like,
Yeah.
that we're missing part of that?
Tons, and that's like the big. That's why I missed the video store.
That's
because
what we gave up.
That was like an event, and don't get me wrong, Netflix is great. And the
sure,
convenience,
absolutely,
the convenience is phenomenal. But every once in a while, I just kind of want to walk into a Blockbuster.
Hey,
pick
listen.
up those cases, read the back of them.
I can get any collectible I want off eBay.
Yeah.
But I still go to collectible stores because I like to just, I didn't know that was available like that.
Yeah.
And there's something about, I don't know what it is, something about that video store vibe of going in and checking out the titles and reading the backs and like touching them as you go by, you know. And how about this? How many years after you quit did you go into a video store
and straighten
and
them?
straighten
all
shelves?
the time? I can't believe I still to this day do it.
That's so
with
funny.
stuff, and my mom thinks I'm crazy. I'm
My
like,
wife would go, "You don't work here."
Yeah.
And I go, "These shelves are crooked."
Yeah.
Because we were taught if you're going to the bathroom,
Yeah.
you're straightening on the way and on the way back.
I mean, I naturally like have that habit anyway. I'm kind of just a organized neat freak in that sense. But yeah, that'll make it work. When we first got DVDs, I remember whoever was displaying them originally, like just ripped open the case, and you know how it has the sticker over one of the edges.
Mm-hmm.
They would rip it open. They wouldn't take off the sticker. They just
oh
rip
no,
it
you
open.
got the little white sticker. You got to
Yeah.
take that off.
No. They ripped it, and like I can remember spending an entire afternoon going through the DVD section and going. And now it was more difficult to rip them off because they were split in two, if not more pieces. And yeah, that would drive me crazy.
When I worked at the mom and pop store, every Tuesday is new release day.
Yeah.
And we would get.
And we'd get to watch them early.
Oh yeah,
which was the best.
sometimes weeks early.
Yeah, that was the best perk. I love that.
That was the best perk because it really impressed your friends.
Yeah.
You'd go. It's funny. Like we had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
One of the best.
3
ever.
months before it hit video.
Yeah.
And I was the toast of the town because I had that movie. Right.
I remember Scream 3 was one that we got really far in advance, and I was a huge fan of that franchise. So.
Me too. But Tuesday the movies would come in, and they would be a box of movies. So. You'd have to open them, take the plastic wrap off, throw the plastic wrap away, take the tape out, put the security sticker on it so that it beeps when it goes to the shoplifting barrier, right? Then you take the box, and the first year I worked there, you shoved a styrofoam fake cassette, wrapped it in plastic, and then shrink wrapped it. Yes.
I love the shrink wrap machine.
And then when I got to Blockbuster, the movies arrived with all of that done.
Yeah.
With a plastic box on it. And someone had invented cardboard that would keep the box fresh looking. I just remember going, well, this is all the job is done. They just put them on the shelf.
Yeah.
And especially on Tuesday, we would just put them on the counter. Because the movies would
yeah,
go...
'cause they'd just fly
I don't
out.
think people realize when the video store was king, everything was checked out.
You know what never happened, and I can't recall this. There was never a drive-through video rental, was there? At least not a big chain.
Just a drop-off.
I can't believe there's no drive-through version.
Hollywood Video had that. You could drive up and drop your movie in.
Yeah.
Blockbuster, you always had to park and get out and go to the door. But as far as like driving up and going, do you have this?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I'm
Hey,
surprised
there's
that
your
never
$1 billion
happened.
idea, man.
Yeah, right. It's interesting. I actually, right before coming here, I had to go return something to Redbox, and I was like, oh, like I have no interest in staying at that screen and browsing through what else they have.
It's not the same.
But if you were at a Blockbuster, I can remember sometimes, I knew, even as a kid, my mom would say, you're returning this. She'd go run up to the window and drop it off. I'm like, I'm going to go inside. And she's like, you don't need to. No, I want to go inside, even though I'm not going to get to rent
I'm
anything.
a movie guy, so
Yeah.
I would always go in.
Yeah.
Because I want to see, did they take any previously viewed tapes, the PVTs?
Yeah.
Is there something I'm missing? Oh, yeah. No, absolutely, man. Especially towards the end, because Blockbuster, remember Austin, became like collectible city.
Well, I think Blockbuster.
Yeah, too much.
Too much, right?
It went the same route that GameStop is going now, in the sense that the actual physical media they were originally based upon was diving down in sales due to digital media, and they figured, well, we're just going to stock whatever is pop culture related and sells.
Yeah.
And they were actually one of, I think, the first major retailer to start stocking Funko Pops back in 2010.
Yeah, I remember you picked up a couple of Funko Pops after Christmas.
Yes.
Because you liked them, and I was like, I don't even know what these are.
They were
and
brand
now they're
new.
quite valuable.
Yeah, I have some of the older ones. They were convinced that this line would propel them to the future, and that they were really, really cheap in wholesale, so they knew to order a bunch of them. But they were all clearanced out for like 99 cents. Did
Now,
not sell.
you and Luna were video game, and still are, video game
And
crazy.
Blockbuster was a huge part of that.
Because
They
you
started carrying them. I don't think they did originally, right? But I do remember toward the end.
What's that?
Well,
Renting out video games.
they
Well, no,
wanted,
we rented NES cartridges when I worked there.
it was by
That was
location.
the first big thing.
Because they wanted NES cartridges so badly. They wanted them right at the start. but Nintendo kept suing them and boycotting them.
Oh, really?
So it was
That's
only
right,
sold
yeah.
once they got it.
Yeah.
I remember them renting out the system. You could rent a VCR. You could rent a Nintendo.
A VCP.
A VCP. That's
It didn't
right.
record. It only played, and it was a big plastic thing.
Yeah.
You know, I saw
used
one.
to hate doing those. I used to hate renting
yeah.
those out. That was just complicated. And,
Yeah, and I remember. I saw one at the swap meet not that long ago. An actual Blockbuster VCP with the built-in handle, and even Rachel was like, "What are you going to do with that?" I go, "I don't know. It's just like a piece of my youth right there." But you'd see people come in and like they would rent. They go, "What's the max I can rent?"
Yeah.
Because they're renting that VCP because they didn't have a VCR at home.
That's right.
And they're renting enough movies for the whole weekend. And I was like, man, those guys are gonna have a blast.
Yeah.
Right?
What was I gonna say? Something about the VCP. Oh no, I actually just recently bought a VHS tape on eBay because I came across a copy of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, but it's a promotional copy. So it's, the cover is all, promotion.
Not for resale.
Not for resale, and it has a short little making of on the VHS. So I was like, I'm getting this. I'm like, I do have a VCR player, but I honestly don't know if it'll hook up to any of the
Directed by
streams.
Randall Kleiser.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yes, the director of Grease.
Nice. I ended up buying Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on VHS as well because I was
Now,
like, I should have
that's
this.
in a big Disney clamshell.
No, it's
right?
not. So they did eventually release Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in the clamshell, but
The original release
specifically-
were cardboard.
Yeah, so that's what I bought because I didn't want the clamshell is great for the animated films. For some reason, when they go Disney live action, I want them to be
Like
the
regular
cardboard.
movies.
Yeah, so I bought those because
That was you're talking when I worked at Blockbuster, Disney was just figuring out what their catalog was worth.
Yeah.
And they were putting out movies out of the vault at full price, $20 for sell-through. And I remember when I worked there, Jungle Book came out. We couldn't keep it in stock.
It's unbelievable.
People would buy, we would sell 30 or 40 a day. Like, that's astounding.
Yeah.
Well, when I went into the kids section of Blockbuster, I would always check what Disney movies they had because this was before they started realizing we should just have everything available to sell as much product. They had this gimmick with the vault where they would release the DVD only for a few short months.
Oh, I know, right? And
they still do that.
We would find them at the video store and then just not take them back.
Yeah.
Because they were worth $60, $70.
Even if they said, well, that's going to be $20 to buy directly.
Yeah.
Of course.
Remember Tron?
Tron,
was like that. For a while, the original Tron, before they re-released it, was worth a lot of money. The DVD.
We saw The Lion King the first time through Blockbuster. That was a big deal. These were movies you couldn't get, and we were like, they're here.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised more studios haven't adopted that way of the vault thing, where you release them for what are they 6 to 8 months, and then they're gone for 5, 6, 7 years.
There was a company that was aggressively doing that, and they were doing it just to screw with the retailers. That was Paramount, because Paramount released Ghost in a white cassette.
Oh.
And Hunt for Red October in a red cassette. And the gimmick was those movies were only available for one day. One day.
Wow.
And that meant, and I worked at Blockbuster when they came out, that meant when that movie came out to rent, we got 50 of them. Because Paramount wanted as much money up front, because a lot of retailers were playing the waiting game because they knew 6 months down the line that $60 movie was going to be $19.99.
Yeah.
And Paramount was trying to figure out how to jimmy that money out of you early. And I remember we got one copy of Ghost for sale. This is back when people assumed every movie was $20. It was behind the counter, and all these women would, how much is that copy of Ghost? It's $60. You must be joking. No, I'm not joking. That's the actual price of most of the tapes out here.
That's crazy.
The ones up front are designed for selling. That is a rental movie that if you want to buy it, it's $60. Or it was $100. It was something really crazy.
When I was there, I feel like it was $120 was the cost of buying a video for rental purposes.
Very expensive.
It's crazy. I remember when I found
But they
that
weren't
out.
designed. The idea, not in your time, but like even before my time, they didn't even consider that people would collect movies.
That's true.
That was not
Yeah.
something they even thought of until the consumer said,
Yeah.
I want to buy these and own them.
And then the store eventually started selling the used tapes.
Yes,
because they're like,
BBTs.
well, what were we gonna do with these
Right.
after?
Well, they figured out, like, the first big one for me was Back to the Future 2.
Okay.
I went and looked at the video store, Blockbuster, and there was 40 copies all checked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, what do you have to do to get this movie? So, you know, after the mania dies down, like 3 weeks later, those movies are now $19.99 in the used bin.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 or 3. I was like, oh my God, I can buy the movie I want now.
Yeah.
Would you say Blockbuster eventually became the best way to get used films? Because they were basically photo afterwards. There would be bins of $2 movies.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because they'd buy like hundreds of copies.
They'd buy way too many, yeah.
And then after the first few weeks, I mean, can you imagine if that were today?
Nobody wants
it would
them
be
after
in
that.
1 week. They'd
Yeah,
be
oh,
dead.
yeah, yeah.
You know, like people.
Avengers would come out,
Yeah.
and everybody would want it, and a week later, nobody would
So
want it.
they'd have to sell them all. And that's when it came to packaging them up, shrink wrapping them, and there's that guarantee it'll play fine.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
It was an interesting process.
And remember when Blockbuster started to get rental copies of movies, of DVDs, that had no extras?
Yes, well, even the VHS tapes were rental copies because they had like their own coming attractions. Like it would be like coming soon to Blockbuster.
Yeah,
you know,
I
coming
remember
soon
that.
to your rental store. So it was, even if, you know, Lion King came out and a few weeks later you could buy the Lion King in a store. They had the different previews. Not that really matters to any consumer.
Yeah, to us
but
weirdos
it's, but
it
it's
does.
a weird nerdy thing.
But the thing that pissed me off was I would go and rent a movie on DVD, and there'd be no extras because if you wanted the extras, you had to buy the movie.
That's what Redbox does now.
This was a rental
Yeah.
copy stamped on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of those were designed to be sent back to the studio for destruction. They didn't want you keeping them.
Didn't want you to sell them.
Right. Did you ever deal with DivX?
No.
DivX never caught on.
I don't know what that is.
DIVX. DivX were probably, 94, 95, 96.
Okay.
They were designed that after a dozen plays,
Oh!
the movie wasn't on there anymore.
Yes, I've heard of those.
Consumers went berserk.
This was for purchase, or
No, these are for rentals.
So it was basically like rental, but you get to keep it. There's no late fee.
Right, because after you watch it 12 times,
It'll
there's nothing on the
erase.
disc.
Yeah, I do remember.
And the
something
other
like
one
that.
was a video cassette that they tried to market that had a counter on it.
For what purpose?
Well, I would check it out to you and write the number down, and you returned it. Oh, you watched it 5 times. I'm going
No.
to charge you 5
that's
times.
stupid.
You think so? But they
Yeah,
tried it.
That's stupid.
You know, the state of California is trying to do that with mileage.
Oh my goodness.
They want to tax you based on how far you drive every day.
That's crazy.
How about that? That means they want to put a meter in your car that tells the government how long you're driving and how far.
That's crazy.
Because they want us all on bikes.
That's
But I remember seeing that counter one going, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
The guy's going to punch me in the face.
That just reminds me of the
Right?
Was this a product they tried to sell you?
Yeah, they wanted us to... Well, no, it was the studios. The studios wanted it. Because the studios were like, look, we're selling you this movie for $90, and we're only making $90. You're making $600 off of
Yeah.
it. By the time its lifespan is over, you're making $1,000 on it. We want some of that dough.
Well, from the get-go, the studios, both movie studios and especially game
They
studios,
hated rental.
Hated rentals.
Yeah.
And it started to really negatively impact this media. So many of its older video games had unbeatable puzzles without a guidebook or a guide because they didn't want you beating it in one sitting from a rental.
Well, that's what I was going to say about you and Luna. You would rent a game for 3 nights, and by night 2, you'd be at the end of the game. I was
Yeah.
astounded.
Huh.
So they started putting in these puzzles you can't beat.
Is it one of the rarest games, a Blockbuster game?
All of them are. What would happen is they would release a game, and then they would release a Blockbuster version that has more content that you could only
Really?
get if
How
you
about
rented
that?
it. The most infamous example is the fighting game Clay Fighter, where you play as clay characters and fight. It's a great game. I recommend you try
But
it.
what does the Blockbuster have that the other one doesn't have?
It's the Sculptor's Cut, and it has more
the
characters
Sculptor's
in it.
Cut.
So if you want to play the game competitively, you have to have those characters, which
Right.
are only in the Blockbuster version.
What about the Flintstones game?
What was the deal? Wasn't that Blockbuster exclusive?
It's Blockbuster only.
Yeah.
And that's really rare.
There's another one that was like a midway racing game for the Nintendo 64. There was like an arcade style one that was only made for Blockbuster. Never released to retail.
Wow.
Now, tell me this: when you were working Blockbuster, or even just going to Blockbuster as a consumer, did you ever think there'd be the day where it wouldn't exist?
Oh gosh, no.
Because
No.
it was so popular.
There was a Blockbuster every 3 blocks.
Oh, it was crazy.
Enough to service every size community. Well, and not only here's the thing. Not only was it, and why the reason we're talking about it, it wasn't just a retail place. It wasn't like Walgreens.
Yeah.
You, as a Blockbuster customer, were in a relationship because you knew the people who worked there.
Yeah.
You'd hang out with them for a few minutes. They might save the movie you wanted for you.
Yeah.
I mean, these were relationships people were building because it was about commitment. You know, I've got a video card, and I got to go get my movies. And the movies are going to be due back. And when I go back, like you said, I'm going to go in the store. I might buy some more movies.
The one thing my Blockbuster didn't do, I'm assuming this was across the board because it was so corporate, but a lot of the mom and pop shops would do this, is like your employee picks. Did your Blockbuster do that?
They did.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't think ours did.
They did employee picks, and they also did. Well, when I worked there, again, remember, I was coming right off of the McDonald's people, so I can remember like verbatim some of the trailer tapes we had. Trailer tapes you'd put on in the store.
I was gonna
play the
get
trailers.
to that. Yeah, I was gonna ask.
And they were this month. Blockbuster salutes friendships, and it was all movies about friendships. You know, and half the time the movie being touted on the screens, we had one copy of because it's not a new release.
Yep.
Like, here's Milo and Otis,
Right.
and they go, Milo, that looks great. I go, we have one copy. It's checked out. What's due back? It's always checked out. Why? Because it's on the trailer tape, right? But we would sneak movies on all the time. As soon as the manager left,
that's
we would
what I
put
was gonna-
movies on. Yeah.
As long as they were like PG or less.
Yeah, or if you knew where the bad stuff was, and you could hit pause or fast forward, like you could put on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, no problem. When he gets to the counter to get his car back, you have to fast forward because he says the F word a bunch of times.
I remember when Titanic came out, you could only play tape 2. Because tape 1 is where they do the new drawing. Only tape
that's
2.
really funny. Oh my god.
Which, of course, that's back in the day. For those listening who only know DVDs, some movies were 2 VHS tapes because they were long.
Well, I remember some DVDs you had to flip over.
Oh, I don't remember
Flipper
that.
discs.
Really?
Yeah, I still have some.
I only know the flipper disc because one side is like widescreen, the other side's full screen.
Yeah, no, some movies like Heat, because it's so long, it's a flipper disc.
No kidding.
You have to flip it over halfway.
That's so funny. Those trailer videos were cool. I actually wish I had some. I actually want to check eBay to see if anybody has
I do
some.
too. I've actually gone on YouTube and watched some of the training,
Yeah.
No thanks, just looking, and welcome to Blockbuster. You're going to find all that. I love all that. I love all that stuff.
It was so
But the
fun.
trailer tapes were the best because we would hear them so many times. You knew what was coming up.
Yeah.
And you could talk along with it.
I do remember by the time I was wrapping up my time there, it would change from trailer tapes to them basically wiring it.
It was a feed, right?
Yeah, it was a feed
that
from
sucks because
corporate.
it takes the personality out of it.
Totally. There's that, and then also it became music videos. Music videos we started showing as opposed to like movie stuff.
Why?
I don't know, but it would basically be like MTV stuff.
When I worked at the mom and pop video, I convinced him to let me make trailer tapes.
Oh, really?
So I would take all of the musical numbers from movies and string them together. Like the tape would be like the barn scene from Footloose, and then a couple of numbers from Great Balls of Fire, and then something from Earth Girls Are Easy, like all this stuff, just so that it was music, but it was still movie related.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember, of course, when it comes to VHS tapes, everybody did that thing where you hook up 2 VCRs and you hit play on one and you hit record on the other and you try to copy it. But they scrambled it with these
It's called Macrovision.
Yeah, so
You had to have a Macrovision decoder
Okay.
to put it back right.
Well, I figured out a way. My parents had a video camera that took, I think they were like called high 8 cassettes.
Oh no, if you had a video camera, it had automatic macro encoding, because I did that trick too.
So I did it with Scream 3 because I was obsessed with it, and I was like, you had it weeks earlier, but like, I don't want to return this, so I recorded it onto a little high 8 cassette and could play it on that through the TV that way for myself.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which is terribly illegal, but
But hey, back in the day, we had to do what we had to do.
Man, it's
I
passion.
once recorded Breakfast Club off of cable on a scrambled channel.
That's unbelievable.
And then I would just play it while I built model kits so I could hear the dialogue.
I did that. I would do that at the drive-in.
Yeah, me too.
I would record.
Yes, just the soundtrack.
Yep, because the audio plays through your car radio, so I'd record it on boombox.
You and I are so alike. I recorded Beavis and Butthead Do America that way.
You're gonna kill me when you hear what I recorded.
What'd you record?
Star Wars Episode 2.
Oh,
I did.
Oh no!
I know, I did.
That's good. What's your favorite line from Episode 2, Austin?
I hate the sand.
Is Episode 2 they're animals, and I slaughtered them like
Yeah,
animals. That's number 2, right?
Yeah, that's where he comes back from slaughtering the sand people with his mother's corpse on the back of his motorcycle.
Yeah.
And the first thing Padme says is, "What's wrong, Anakin?" I don't know, but my mom is dead over there.
Yeah, hey, it was Star Wars, man.
Although, listen, I got angry about Attack of the Clones when it came out, but I remember I had kids, and I remember going to Toys R Us, and my wife goes, "The kids want that DVD."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm not buying that." And she goes, "Your kids want it." I said, "Are you guys kidding me?" So we watched it a few times, right?
I actually watched it a lot.
Yeah,
As a kid, I watched episode.
But you
2
like, because
over and
you're a
over
young
again.
guy. It's got monsters and aliens and
Well,
spaceships.
I look back on it, and it's easily one of the worst films ever.
Well, here's with me and Star Wars, it comes down to I am a fan of the films. I am not a fanatic by any means of Star Wars, but I enjoy them. And right before Episode 7 came out, I watched 1 through 7, like within a couple weeks span, and I'm like, it's just so much fun to watch these.
Well, sure, it's better than a day at work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Star Wars, right?
fun.
I think what happened was the movie just didn't age well with the CG effects,
Yeah,
especially.
Every
Well-
scene is so dense.
Because back when I was when was I into that film? 3 years old, 2 years old.
Yeah,
right?
you were into Star Wars very young. It was your religion.
When I was really young and I watched it on the fuzzy CRT TVs with the bad audio, you didn't really notice how bad it looked until now.
Oh no, digital TV show everything is terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Because not that long ago, I think they were airing episode 2 on ABC Family. Disney owns it now; they can show it as much as they want. And you look at like those arena scenes now, and you'll just be like, "Wow, this looks really bad."
It looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like with George Powell's War of the Worlds. The digital stuff down that we have, you can see all the strings that the spaceships are on, but purists are like, that's the movie.
Yeah.
You just have to look past it. Because what do you want to do, digitally erase it all?
But the old tube TVs didn't show it that
Yeah.
well, you know? It's
So you worked at Blockbuster, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the little saloon door room in the back. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, an adult room?
Yeah, yeah.
No Blockbuster had that.
No. The mom and pop I worked for, they were very religious. So they didn't have that either.
Okay.
And I remember going to Blockbuster, and I remember all my friends were like, "Why don't you get a job at a store, man, that's got the background?" I'm like, I've never worked at a place. I don't have any idea how that transaction would go down, right? Because I never did. I dealt with it with, like, young guys would bring up, ski school or stewardess school or any of those jiggly movies, but they're R-rated, they're not pornographic, and we know, the guy needs the movie. I get it, right? No problem. But I can't imagine the guy coming up the counter with, like, those titles and me having to ring. It never entered into my brain, and thankfully I never had to do that.
One of the smartest things I think that they did was, did you have the sequel shelf where if a sequel was coming out in theaters?
That's what I was going to tell you. We would have it would be the summer hits are coming.
Yeah.
Watch the originals first. Yeah.
Which was smart. I think that was really smart. They'd put it up because everybody was looking for it anyway.
Yeah.
So it was smart to do that, and they'd usually get a few extra copies if the sequel was coming out.
The only drawback, and I don't know if they did this when you worked there, was that the new release wall at one point was more expensive than the catalogs.
Yes,
And
because
if
I think
you-
catalogs were like 99 cents and new release was like $3.99.
And if you moved them to the wall,
oh, did they go up?
they went up sometimes,
Oh,
and
that's
people didn't
stupid.
understand that.
That's lame, actually.
So how often did somebody come in and swear to you that a brand new theatrical release was coming out to your store that day?
I don't remember. I'm sure somebody did, but I don't recall that so much.
Oh, it happened all the time. They go, we want the Beauty and the Beast movie. We don't have Beauty and the Beast movie.
No, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you'd know better than me. But did Blockbuster not create the direct-to-video movies? Wasn't it kind of created for Blockbuster? Because people were looking for stuff. They'd see everything. They just wanted something. So they'd create these direct-to-video movies.
Yeah, well, it's called the DTV market. Yeah. Disney created it with, what was it? What was the first direct-to-video Disney one? Do you remember, Austin?
Like a spin-off? Or...
It was a sequel. It was one of their sequels.
Was it Beauty and the Beast?
No, because Magical Christmas was late 90s.
Enchanted Tales with Belle, or... No, that's...
No. There was a... I know, because remember the first one they did was Rescuers Down Under.
Okay.
That was their first animated sequel.
Yeah, okay.
And people were like, wait a minute. They'll go... I mean, because Rescuers is not a very well-known movie.
Which, I know, it is a weird one to have made that sequel.
But see, there's no risk.
Yeah.
And it was made by their television animated division, not the studio.
The original film.
No, the sequel.
The Rescuers.
The original was a Disney release. Okay. There was no TV version or pipeline, right? But by the time Rescuers Down Under came out, they had been making DuckTales and Gargoyles.
Yeah.
And was there any others?
Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears. And what was the...
Darkwing Duck.
What was the Roger Rabbit ripoff with the cheetah? Bonkers? Remember
Bonkers? Yeah.
People like Bonkers,
yeah.
even though he's an animated cat with a real guy, but the real guy's animated too. And I'm like, this doesn't hurts my head. But it might have been, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, Return of Jafar.
Oh, I think you might.
That was remember when Return of Jafar came out, people were like,
that was big.
Wait a minute.
I know a lot of people who prefer Return of Jafar over Aladdin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a lot of people.
But I could, because I was, it's a weird, funny story. I was up in Hollywood doing a class on how to be in commercials, where they taught us how to drink soda and chew gum. No joke. And I paid for this. And I walked by this focus group where they were talking to a group of kids, and the lady goes, yeah, they just watched some new movie. And I'm like, oh, movie, cool, what movie? Aladdin 2. I said, they made an Aladdin 2?
Yeah.
Return of Jafar? I remember when that came out, explosion.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But prior to that, what they did was, this is before making movies got cheap. Because right now, anybody can make a movie. You and I can make a movie tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But back in the day, movie equipment, I mean, Clerks cost a lot of money to look that crappy, right?
Yeah.
But they would buy these oddball movies that were put into production, and Blockbuster would be the only place you could see them. I know that because there was a movie that I can't even find now called Norman's Awesome Experience.
Oh, God.
Complete ripoff of Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted, yeah.
But it was made just to rent.
Yeah.
Just for rental purposes. But the DTV market was Disney, man, all the way. And then when everybody else saw it, they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Not only will people rent these old, I mean, because they would take Tom and Jerry and put a new cover on it and give it to the kids, and the kids would go, these are from the 40s, man. Right? They look terrible.
Yeah.
But then suddenly, the same way that cartoons in the afternoon went from Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies to He-Man and G.I. Joe, somebody realized cheap animation sells like hotcakes, man.
Yeah.
The kids eat it up. I mean, the children's section was always checked out.
Yeah.
Those movies were gone.
Yeah, especially if you had something Disney that was new.
Sure. I mean, that's the gold standard,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Because everybody would assume it's Disney.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I mean, how many copies of Flubber did you guys get in?
Yeah,
and Flubber is
right.
not a very good movie.
Yeah.
But you put it in that clamshell,
Exactly.
and suddenly it's right alongside
Yeah.
Jungle to Jungle and all the other crap fest Disney's put out.
The clamshell drove me nuts on the case. You know, you have the case that fit, you know, all your VHS tapes nice, and then the clamshell took up more space. Kind of annoying. But I'm always shocked that Blockbuster never came up with shelves that had an indentation that the case would fit in and not move. Earlier we were talking about walking by and scraping them up. I'm surprised that they never came up with dividers for them. That seems like
idea.
a no-brainer.
The only thing I can think of is that they want the consumer to pick it up and look at it. And not that most people did. Most people would just grunt. Charlie Sheen movie. Yeah, here you go. There you go.
I used to hate it when people would bring up the styrofoam case.
Oh, and
instead of the video behind it.
I know.
I'm like, no.
You could see them in line with it.
Yeah.
Like Grandma thinks that we have 40 copies of that on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
That was. I'm sorry, this isn't the movie.
Yeah.
No, this right off the shelf. No, this is. There's a movie behind it. There weren't any movies behind it. That it's all checked out.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the face just collapses, right?
Was there one movie that people could never find? Because in my store, there's a movie that people would always look for and never be able to find.
It's not the Sinbad version of the Genie movie, right?
No,
Shazam.
This is because of the way it was alphabetized.
Oh no, I'm dying to know.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
Everybody would look under Indiana Jones.
Oh.
So if you go to I, it would be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and they'd go there looking for Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is the official name now.
Now they've changed
it.
Back in the day,
it
you're
was
right.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. R.
And that, to be honest, like, it drove me nuts. I was like, can we just put it with the other indie films? Like, please, this is where people are going to
put them as a set.
They're like, nope, this is R. This is Raiders of the
Oh,
Lost
that's
Ark.
not right.
And I was like, oh, but that was the movie.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, my biggest thing is people come in, they go, I'm looking for that movie that's got a
With the
guy in it, and the guy does this, and I would listen. Now, most of the time I go, yeah, I know exactly, it's right here. But every once in a while I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. You've invented this movie, man.
Yeah.
Invented it.
Or like you said, it's in theaters right now.
Or it's in theaters right, yeah. I can't help you with that movie. I'm very sorry.
That's so funny.
But here's the thing. I was a connoisseur. It seems like you were too, of how the videos looked.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because I would always say that this is minutia right here. That Warner Brothers had the best video boxes. Because the front was the poster,
yeah,
and the back was a full synopsis with 3 or 4 small photos from the film.
Yes.
Very clean, very crisp. That's the movie. Mm-hmm. But the best cassettes were Universal, because Universal put the film logo on it.
Yep.
Because I remember getting Terminator 2, and it was put out by Carolco, which was put out by either Ingram or Media. But it was just like a white label with Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I'm like, this is a missed opportunity right here.
Well, then it became a sticker after they used to print white ink on the.
Some of them had, the Disney ones had ink on them, yeah, and Hollywood Pictures.
Yeah, and I remember my Harriet the Spy video was orange. Nickelodeon started doing orange.
Yeah,
videos.
that was fun. I like that kind of stuff. Like I said, Ghost was white.
Yeah.
Red October was red. I thought those were cool. We had some like the movie Bad Dreams. It's a Peter Jackson movie. The box was a guy putting 2 fingers up, but it had a place where you could cut it and make it a middle finger if you wanted to.
Jeez.
We had boxes that were vacuum form that had blinking lights from Monster Eyes.
Yeah.
I loved all that stuff.
It's such nerdy stuff that you can probably find on eBay now. But
I love it all, man. And I made sure I was the guy who worked Tuesdays and Thursdays for the shipments to get the the screener tapes. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, the POP stuff, which is the point of purchase stuff, the standees, the flyers. One time I was working. I was the guy who opened a case of. Remember those Garfield dolls that would stick on your window? These were Chucky.
Oh, wow.
Chucky dolls that stuck on your window. And I said, dibs, gone. And that weekend, I was going to the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. I got 75 a piece for those. I was like, we're in the money.
That's crazy. It
was great.
Do you remember as the time went on and the years passed, VHS tapes kept getting lighter and lighter in weight. Like they started to feel cheaper.
Like everything else.
And even the cases that Blockbuster put them in became lighter and lighter and lighter. And I wonder if your store did this. We literally threw away those plastic cases. When we got a movie and we put them back.
Yeah, because they were scratched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would throw them away. I took them all home and I would do, because I used to record a lot of stuff.
Put your movies in them.
I'd put my movies in them, and I'd make my own little covers for them. And my whole.
I
room
used to
was-
take the big black ones home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The big black.
The big,
cases.
yeah. And I would use them for gift wrapping and all kinds of words. And now there's a company called Rotten Rentals.
Oh wow.
That sells you a fake video. There's no cassette, but it's a faux label from some movie. When you open up, there's like trading cards and gum, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Did you see what Disney now has in the theme parks? They're selling those old clamshell cases. They made them look like notebooks. But the genius thing is it's the original artwork. So they currently have Beauty and the Beast, which is really difficult
I've
to
not
find.
seen these.
Oh, I got them all now.
That sounds great.
Unfortunately, they're not the same size. They're a little bit smaller. I wish that they were the same size as the clamshell cases. But they had Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. I wanted Little Mermaid because that's my favorite, but that's the phallic cover.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they didn't do that.
That came out while I was working, and we had to,
Put a sticker.
We had to run to the display to look. Oh yeah, no. By the time anybody cared, we were sold out.
Yeah.
The second shipment didn't have that.
But the cool thing about the notebooks is when you open it up, the first page is a VHS tape, and the last page is the back of the VHS.
Oh, look at that.
tape.
That's
And
great.
and it's the same artwork.
That's that
we
nostalgia
had.
thing you were talking about.
Totally. Nostalgia is king. That is.
Well, look at us. We've spent an hour talking about a video store that
I love it.
not only went out of business, but literally the business model doesn't exist anymore.
They tried to get into the Netflix game. They did the DVD mail rentals. And
I think I've talked about that before.
Too late.
That was the greatest.
Because you could bring it to the store and get a free rental.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So I would be on the 3 a month
Yeah.
plan, right? For like $10. It was so cheap.
Yeah.
As soon as the first one came in the mail, I would watch it and then run to the video store because you could get a free rental,
That's right.
which was due back in a week.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing. Once you scan it at the store, people can't see me, but I'm actually making the scanning motion. Once you scan the disc at the store, the company assumed return. So they would mail the one out. And so the next day, another movie would come.
Yeah.
At one time, I had like 10 rental DVDs and movies coming in the mail I was like a system. I was like on a gravy train.
Yeah.
That's how Rachel and I watched every episode of 6 Feet Under.
Oh, wow.
Back when they used to break up TV
Yes.
sets, you'd have to rent them one disc at a freaking time.
That made sense, but it stunk as a consumer. But yeah, no, I forgot about that. That was a great deal as a consumer. Obviously, they went bankrupt doing that.
Yeah, the people at the store knew exactly what I was up to.
Yeah.
And they hated it.
And you weren't doing anything wrong. That was their system.
These were your rules,
Yeah.
man. Oh, yeah.
You know what I hated was there was the rule at Blockbuster, if you don't like it, let us know and we'll give you a free rental.
Yeah.
And I used to hate that. 'cause
I did too, because you'd have to grill the consumer.
Yeah.
And if there was one thing they liked, you go, well, I can't give you a free rental because you just admitted you liked, Charlton Heston in the cameo or whatever it was.
I mean, if it's somebody who didn't do it all the time, like, first of all, most people are not going to take the time to be like, I really hated that movie.
It's a rule designed not to be used.
Yeah. And, it was usually, I think you could get it had to be from the library.
It could be new. They never gave away new releases. They didn't have to.
So yeah, I don't know. Good old Blockbuster days.
I think for me that we knew the end for Blockbuster was coming.
It was
when-
a slow death.
slow death.
Yeah.
And the end for me was when I walked the new release wall, and like you said, there were so many titles I'd never heard of because they were direct to rental titles that had never seen a theatrical release. And I'm like, I don't even recognize half of these movies. And I'm a movie guy.
Yeah.
But these are all direct schlocky TNA transmorpher crap
I was
movies.
about to say, I think one of the biggest things that killed Blockbuster without even realizing was the Mockbuster wise by the Asylum.
Do you know what a Mockbuster is?
No.
They would release a movie that sounds so similar to the
to
ones
stuff
in
that's
theater
in theaters,
that
yeah.
they'd trick like grandma into renting the newest
Yeah.
Transformers movie for a sign.
Yeah.
Well, Disney is suing companies over that now because there's some company that put out a Cars movie that I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, we've seen it. It looks just like
looks
Cars.
exactly
Yeah.
like it. And but that also added to the confusion of, you said a lot of people would come in and ask for stuff that was in theaters currently, and that's, I mean, it was those companies doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Every time, Asylum, right?
Asylum,
Every
yeah.
time a movie comes out in theaters, Thor came out in theaters. There was a Thor movie you could rent
Yeah.
on something or on
Well, I mean,
Sci-Fi Channel.
This was a really late trend, like when they came out with right near the tail end of Blockbuster, Battleship. Do you remember the Battleship movie?
Oh yeah.
The Asylum did American Battleship.
Yeah.
Like that's just the same title.
Yeah.
But you know what? In all fairness, that one might have been better.
Oh.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, they also did
very lucky.
Transmorphers, which was better than the Michael Bay films.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You made me buy Transmorphers.
So they were going.
Transmorphers?
They were going out of
Yes.
business, and I wanted a memento that reminded me of what Blockbuster was.
Transmorphers.
Transmorphers.
Yeah.
I actually watched it. Train wreck of a film.
Yeah, there's only a robot at the last 5 minutes.
And it looks like a student made it in
Yeah.
high school. It's horrible.
Now, if there's something you could take from one of the stores, go back in time and take it for nostalgia purposes.
Oh, you know what I would take? This is so crazy. When I worked there, they had they had a contest called Win in a Flash, and it was a summer promotion, and we would hand out game cards that had remember the Star Wars thing where you had to put it on your forehead at Taco Bell, and the heat would reveal your prize.
Oh, okay.
Feel the Force. Remember Feel the Force?
Yes.
Blockbuster had Win in a Flash, so we gave you a game card that had this silver coating on it, and on your way out, we had the standalone machine. There was basically a cardboard display with a camera flash in it. So you put your card in,
Oh, yes!
And
I do remember
you
this.
push the button, and this woman would go, Win in a Flash, bing, and then it would show you the prize,
Yes.
right? And the prizes were, free rental, free popcorn, whatever it was. The big thing was they partnered with that promotion with Little Caesars.
Okay.
So here's why I loved it so much. We took the whole stack of game cards one night and just put them all in the machine, because after 20 minutes the silver comes
It goes
back.
back, yeah.
So we're like, there's a winner. Here you go. Like, you ever seen Apu looking up, going, look at the you know what I mean? At the scratchers. So we had free Little Caesars for the whole summer.
That's-
Pizzas, drinks, and they didn't care, because we'd walk over and go, here's a coupon for a free pizza and a free soda, and here's 2 free rentals with the same cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was the greatest thing. And I just remember all day, Win in a Flash. And when we got tired of that, we would just bring a camera in and flash it right on the thing and reveal. I would love to have. I don't even remember what it looks like,
Yeah.
but Win in a Flash, so
funny.
great.
Huh.
No, my thing was, well, I should tell you, when the Blockbuster by our house closed, we ended up with most of it.
Did you?
Yeah, remember?
Yeah,
Where
Luke's-
is it all?
We ended up giving it all away, right? We
Yeah.
had shelf talkers, signs. Do you remember at the end the stanchions that led to the register had
Yeah.
a bowl on top to put candy in?
Yes.
We had all that for
Oh my
Luke's
God,
birthday.
That's actually a pretty genius design.
Yeah.
The bowl on top of the stanchion. I'm surprised that's not still
Can't
around.
escape the
We
candy.
ended up with the line poles that segregated the line.
We had all that
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. They sold it all to us for like $50 or something.
They just wanted it gone.
wanted it gone.
So sad.
And you see it at the swap meet every once in a while. You see Blockbuster stuff, and
Did you see the thing going around social media about the guy who built a Blockbuster for his autistic
that's the coolest
kid?
thing ever.
Yeah.
And if it makes the autistic kid feel better, that's God bless him. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's pretty crazy.
That's why we were talking earlier. I'd love to turn my garage into a Blockbuster with a counter and a live floor of movies. I bet if I opened up shop, people would flock. I mean, you heard about the Jerry Maguire store, right?
No.
Up in Hollywood right now, there's a video store that's open that only sells VHS copies of Jerry Maguire.
Where is this
It's
and
an art-
why?
It's an art installation,
Oh my goodness.
and people go in and they buy
Is
a
it
copy of
it's
Jerry
VHS?
VHS. He has like 10,000 VHS copies of Jerry Maguire.
How many have you sold?
Oh, I don't know. I know it's a thing.
It made news headlines. He probably found a warehouse.
That's
It was
so
like, I have an idea.
weird.
So, what's your prediction
For the future of video
going to rent a movie or some reasonable facsimile thereof?
I think if anything happens, it's going to be for nostalgia purposes only, and it's going to be very small amounts.
Right, because here's what I would say. Records are awful. They don't sound as great as CDs and.
A lot of people would disagree.
Oh, I
with
know,
you.
I know. The hiss pop, I get it. But, okay, I'll take that back. They have their own distinct sound. And if you like that sound, you like that sound. But they require so much in a record player with speakers and a needle and a da-da-da-da-da. And there's a reason why we progressed past that to where we are now.
Yeah.
And if you'd have said, you know what records made last year? $1 billion.
Really?
The record industry. The
Yeah.
record
The
industry
digital industry,
was $1 billion.
Do you think most people listen to them, or do you think most people collect
I think they're
them?
just collectibles.
They just buy 'em.
They're
They
$30.
like to listen to
They're
I
too
mean,
expensive.
I kind of am at that point right now. I'm very few, but I'm collecting VHS. Like, I called home to Massachusetts and was like, Mom, do we still have, Jurassic Park on VHS? And that, unfortunately, is gone, because we replaced it with DVD
I know you have the
Blu-ray.
feeling because I just bought off eBay a beta copy of just one of the guys.
But it's still, oh my God. But
It's out of the cafe.
It's still not the same, though, because it's not yours. That's my thing, is like,
Well, yeah.
like with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, we were talking about the clamshell thing. I made sure it wasn't the clamshell, because that's not
not
the
what
way
you
I
had.
remember it.
Right.
But it's still not mine. So, like, there's a few. E.T., I still have my kids' VHS copy. Titanic, I still have. I feel like there's a couple more that I still have and won't get rid of. Star Wars, the special editions, sorry. But those...
I have the original One Last Time 1995 edition right next to special edition. So
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
But I still have my beta copy of Back to the Future. My copy.
Yeah.
That's one
Back
of my
to the Future I still have on VHS.
That's one of my
that
most
trilogy.
treasured items because that was my friend.
Yeah.
That tape got me through high school.
Do you still have did you have the Back to the Future set that came with the 4th VHS of the making of? That's what I have.
I just bought it.
Did you?
Yeah, I just
I
bought
just
it.
found it at the thrift store.
Yeah, the Kirk Cameron one.
Yeah, exactly. Which is on the DVDs now. That's special. But
I bought the tape because
yeah.
I'm like, I remember having that.
I got those. I remember I was actually on vacation in Universal Studios Orlando, and my dad's a huge Back to the Future fan, and we didn't have the tapes at that point. And he saw the whole collection. He was like, yeah, we gotta get this. And so I still have that one to this day.
And there's actually a huge collector market now for the promotional VHS tapes that only the stores would get.
Yeah, so I just bought Honey, I Blew Up the Kid that way.
So I check the VHS tapes every time I go to the thrift store because people are now posting online finds they get at thrift stores of whale promotional VHS tapes.
Right, and we were shocked at Monster Palooza. There was a whole wall of horror movies on VHS. And I laughed, and then later in the day, he was almost sold out.
Wow.
I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But there's something just kitschy and cool about having Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS.
They're
you
even
know?
designing VHS cases for new movies. They don't do it. They don't print VHS copies.
Right, no, VHS
but
is totally dead.
Like, it's kind of cool right now for new. I think Rogue One had one that came out
Yeah,
of VHS.
I have Stranger Things.
Okay, yeah,
Which is
perfect.
never gotten a release of any type except digital.
So, so like that's kind of a cool thing. The thing that I see that might come back, you might see people start producing VCRs again. Because people are buying used
Can you
VHS.
imagine?
Nobody...
Because they just stopped production,
They
what,
just
a year and a
stopped.
half ago,
yeah,
right?
something like that.
Well,
But I mean, what are people going to play them on, right?
You have to find one at a video store. I know
I would not be surprised if the way they're rebuilding Nintendo systems right now and they're flying off the shelves, I would not be surprised if you start seeing VCRs created that way.
What am I on the hunt for right now? What do I check every time I go to the
Austin
store?
wants a television.
A CRT.
An analog television.
Like, what is that specific?
That you can hook a Dreamcast on.
And I'm looking for an old television. One that's small, though. And
Like a
compact.
tube TV?
Yeah.
A tube TV, yeah.
Because you think, like, oh, tube TVs. There's probably going to be 100 of them at the local thrift store. They'll all beat up and destroyed.
They're all
now.
dead.
You should... really?
Yeah, they're
They're all
tough to
dead.
find now.
Yeah.
And, like, the really nice tube TVs that are small and compact and not destroyed that support the white cables are becoming really collectible.
That's my question with the cable situations. Like I said, I have my VHS players that I haven't touched in forever, but when I get that rare Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's going to plug into my flat screen.
No, it won't.
It won't.
So,
No.
You
I
have
don't
to have
even
the
know.
original TV
So,
to play on. Yeah.
I don't even know how
I
that
picked up a Dreamcast. I tried hooking it up to the TV, and I'm like, oh,
It doesn't
I'm gonna
work
need
that way.
The original one.
Your digital television doesn't understand an analog signal at all. It doesn't even know what that is.
Man, they don't even have converter cables?
They have
talking
converter
about-
cables,
No,
they
you're,
do.
you're talking about backwards converter.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Everybody wants to go forward. You and I are sitting here going back.
They do have backwards converters, but they're never going to work the way you want them to. iffy, and for games like the Dreamcast, it's going to give you input lag really badly. And the image quality is going to be distorted and stretched out. Same with VHS tapes. You can try it, and you might get a good one, but unless you're going to spend like $100 on like a really premium one, I know they're producing ones for the Dreamcast in England right now, $80 to
That's
get ordered.
hysterical.
You have to get the TV if you're not going to go for that.
This generation, my generation, couldn't wait to upgrade. Your generation can't wait to downgrade.
Well,
it's
the upgrade,
hysterical.
the upgrade from VHS to DVD was extreme. Like the
Heck
quality
yeah.
was
It was so
massively
good.
better.
You and I said, I never have to buy that movie again.
Yeah, totally.
And then I had to buy that movie
Yeah.
again.
The idea that you can't get it back—that's the thing.
Oh man.
And a lot, like we were saying earlier, when you play a lot of these older movies, especially video games, you start to realize that things like the scan lines, the fuzziness, gave it that authentic look.
Yeah, that 80s picture quality is something special. Like, it really is. If you could create a home video recorder to give it that look, oh man. Oh,
You just
it's
need a
such great
filter
thing.
on your phone, right?
True. That has to exist.
It has
right?
to. It has to. Yeah, it has to.
I'll have to look into that.
The problem is that the randomness of it wouldn't be random enough for your eye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you need those lines, first of all, where because remember tapes would get wrinkled?
Yes.
Did you ever open up a cassette and try to
Yes.
fix it?
Yes.
All the time, man. Get some Scotch tape out,
Oh.
and then during that scene, it would go, you're like, hold on, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Just a second.
I
We used to always joke because Fast Times at Ridgemont High would always break during the pool scene.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
But I think another thing that makes that experience going for that's authentic is old special effects and pre-rendered CGI. Do you remember when games would have cutscenes that were already 3D rendered and put through a processor? So you could play a game like Mario Kart 64, and if you played it on the old TV, you wouldn't notice or even think that the characters aren't actually 3D. They're, how do I explain pre-rendered 3D? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's hard to describe. I don't know.
Well, it's actually a 2D sprite of something that was filmed in 3D and put in 2D as a game.
Yeah, you're going through so many
No.
layers. You're losing me.
Like the Donkey Kong Country games.
Oh, I love Donkey Kong Country.
They aren't actually in 3D. It's just sprites and flames.
Are you talking about like Killer Instinct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the perfect
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Mortal
about.
Kombat.
Yeah.
You didn't realize how bad those looked until you put
Well,
them on
Mortal
an
Kombat
HDTV.
is not. There's not a animator doing it. It's a person.
Yes.
They filmed them and then put them in the game, right?
Yeah.
Except for Goro.
Which was claymation.
Yeah.
But when you play that on an HDTV, it's also noticeable.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. That's. I mean, nothing holds up. Look, watch a movie with Eddie Murphy now, and you're like, "Ooh, he looks really old." I'm just kidding. There aren't any Eddie Murphy movies. So what's your favorite Blockbuster memory? Do you have one?
I don't know if there's a specific one, but I loved it's just Saturday nights, like the insanity of it. The night would fly by.
I was gonna say the best part about Saturday is it was over in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it would fly by, and I worked with great people. You know, that was, I think.
Well, that
really-
was I think that was the hallmark of that kind of business, like I was talking, because when I first started there was a guy who worked with me named Robert Canada, and he was a Vietnam vet, and he was a big a-hole. And then a month later, we were the best of friends.
Yeah.
And we would get to, here comes so-and-so, get their movies ready. You're like, here you go, man. And it just became like, almost like living clerks, you know?
Totally. And it was, I don't know, it was a great atmosphere. It was a great high school job. I loved
totally
it.
agree. For a guy like me who loves movies, it was the perfect job. And
Yeah.
it's sad now that other than like FYE, it doesn't really exist.
Yeah, it's
Book off.
Even FYE though has like really limited selection. It doesn't have the same atmosphere either. Everything's all commercial and there's a lot of merchandise
Sure,
for sale.
sure.
the atmosphere of the 3 tube TVs up on the ceiling together, playing the same movie on each screen. Like I love that crap.
Do you ever see Last Action Hero?
Oh God, I'm sure I have in the background.
Where
but I've
they
never
go
said-
into a Blockbuster.
Oh, do they?
And the woman working in the counter is Angie Everhart.
Okay.
And it's the kid in Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He's like, "We'll go into a movie store. I'll show you." And he's like, "Well, you're one of the biggest movie stars in the world." And he's like, "What about Terminator 2?" And they walk up. It's Stallone in the pose with the motorcycle. He's, "This is the movie. He was great in that movie." He's like, "No, this is supposed to be you."
That's funny.
And then he goes, "Look around." everybody in the store is good looking. It's not real. He goes, we're in California, everybody's good looking. It's a terrible movie, but that's a really fun scene.
Did your store have one of those setups where like you had all the TVs in a grid together?
No,
and it would
no.
Neither. I've seen some stores like that, but our store didn't have
We used to go on field trips to the better stores because ours was Hawaiian Gardens, which is not upscale, but we would go to like upscale Cerritos, and Cerritos was like, oh my god, they rent laser discs here, and by the laser disc department they had a putting green.
Oh wow!
You could like pretend to putt. I'm like, what the hell is this here for?
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had a good store with a good selection. I do remember growing up, I would have to go in the town over because they had a Blockbuster and we didn't. And then, I don't know, at some point, probably when I was around 10 or something, we got our own Blockbuster.
I want to borrow your car. Why? So I can rent a movie. You work in a video store. But back then, going across town was part of the fun.
Yeah.
You'd get like, oh my god, we're going to the video store.
Well, I think what really made it unique was the fact that you could try something new. Nowadays, I'm not going to take a risk on a $60 video game knowing I might not like it.
Yeah, no, you're screwed that way.
But back then, we could just go and rent something completely random.
Well, like I said, you guys would rent them and finish them. So I was like, well, don't have to buy that one.
We went to Hollywood Video one time, and we were looking around, and the only game... It was just when we got the PS3, right? It's a year after its launch, and they cut the price. And like, oh, there's nothing to rent here, except one game called Little Big Planet. We just rented it on a whim, saying we're probably not going to like this.
And it became one of your favorite games ever.
And our sister latched onto it and made friends across the world with that game.
She still plays it.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing was Luna would always take birthday money to Blockbuster because for buying games, he could go to a regular store and get one or maybe two. At Blockbuster, he'd come home with like 7 or 8.
They would just
especially if they were doing buy two get one.
Yeah.
And it would just be the discs, no case, with like a rental sticker, but it was still the game being charged for $5 versus $60.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, if that existed today, those games wouldn't be there. The collecting market has changed so much.
Oh yeah, no.
That
no.
people know.
gobble that stuff up now.
Yeah.
They do.
I was Employee of the Month once because I was really good at selling. They had this promotion. I think it was $30, and you could, for 30 days, get a new video every day.
We bought that,
Yeah.
yeah. They also had it for kids, was Blockbuster Summer Camp.
Okay, yeah.
We had
Yeah.
that one too.
Yeah.
So I was really good at convincing people, oh no, you'll use it, even if you use it half the time, 50, you're still saving this much money. And
See,
sold
for
a bunch
us,
of those.
the store was literally the minute you stepped out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it was easy to go to.
Every night I'd have a new movie to watch.
We would go every night. Yeah, we were heavy users.
Yeah.
We were heavy users, man. God, I miss Blockbuster. I really
know,
do.
right?
This makes you upset.
Blockbuster
It's
video.
gone.
Nobody made a documentary about them, have they? Like, we got the Tower Records documentary.
No, you know what? There have been people who've documented the closing of their store, but not. There hasn't been the Be Kind Rewind, the story of Blockbuster Video.
Be Kind Rewind. I used to hate when people would bring tapes back unrewound. Didn't they charge for that at one point?
That when they first opened, it was 25 cents.
Yeah.
But people revolted. They said, "We just won't pay it."
Yeah, it is interesting.
You rewind it.
I do love it though when some, whether it was the studio or Blockbuster, the corporation, trying to do something. Some of the stupid stuff we've talked about tonight, like counting how many times you watch it, and the consumer's like, oh no,
Yeah.
no, listen.
If the consumer revolts in a big way, it goes away.
Yeah.
It just does. We had on the counter 7 or 8 rewinders all ready to go, like alligators with their mouths open. Click, 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 click. Blum, 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 blum.
I remember once I felt so bad I did this. I put a tape in to rewind it, and they had a stack of them, and they left the store, and the tape was still in the rewinder,
Oh.
and they had to come back and get it, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I felt like crap that day.
I can remember Rachel when Luke was born. He would watch movies all day, and the other half of the day was spent rewinding the movies all day, freaking all. Here's the thing: when DVDs came about, the greatest thing was you didn't have to rewind them.
That and also skipping chapters.
That
was
except
great.
Disney DVDs, you'd put it on and come back 30 minutes later, and the
It'd
damn
still
movie
be
hadn't
previewed.
started yet.
Yeah, now you can skip them, thankfully, but yeah, when
In
they
the original, there was.
But originally, when DVDs came out, there were no previews.
Yeah,
which
but-
I personally liked. I know some people were bummed about, but I would go straight to the
Well,
menu.
the problem with the previews is that it would date when you
Yes,
bought it.
yes.
And some movies I don't like that You know?
I agree, and that was part of the thing I was talking about earlier. How the rental copies would have different trailers, like coming to Blockbuster, and when you'd buy those used copies, I did hate that. I was like, these previews don't make sense right now.
Yeah, they don't make sense.
But I do remember this. So most DVDs for when they first came out had no previews. I remember the first one seeing it on, it angered me the way they did it, because it was the Jim Carrey Grinch movie, and it would go straight to the menu. You'd hit play. And then it played you a preview
that's dirty.
for the ET 20th anniversary before the movie started. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I just hit play for the movie.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
it's stuck.
Nowadays, they try to connect you to your internet to download new trailers.
And they go, let's get you a fresh preview from the internet.
Really?
The Blu-rays.
Is that how it works?
The Disney ones do that.
Blu-rays, yeah.
Hey, I prefer that, personally.
I also remember, everybody's trying to find their place in the market, but nobody more so than these are Disney DVDs.
Yeah.
The magic of Disney.
Yeah.
Disney DVDs. And like, oh, it's just a DVD. No,
It's
a
a
Disney DVD.
It comes with reward points, and it's like a package, and all these exciting
Coming
things.
soon to theaters.
And they would release like some of the really old films that weren't really beloved. Like, remember when they tried to release? What's a good example? Not Swiss Family Robinson, but some of the other live action ones from like the 50s.
Well, I have a
60s.
stack in the garage I bought at the thrift store. They're like the computer wore tennis shoes.
Yeah.
I wish that they would release, like, everything. Like, it bothers me. I've got, like, 4 copies of Beauty and the Beast on my shelf, from DVD to Blu-ray, you know? And there's the Platinum Edition, Diamond Edition, Special Edition, now Signature
But they all have
Collection.
different features.
Yeah, so you get them, right? But it bothers me that, like, I've had 4 Beauty and the Beasts, but, like, no, I don't know, pick a title. Like, Sword in the Stone hasn't gotten
they
a
don't
good
care.
treatment.
Black
It's on
Ca-
DVD.
Black Cauldron.
Yeah. I'm like, can't we get, like, a Diamond Edition of everything before we move on to Signature Collection? Like,
Yeah, they don't hold all the movies in the same regard.
no, they don't. But there's a lot that...
A lot of them, they're like, right under the rug.
I'm furious that there is no good collection of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series. Like,
Or the TV show.
No. The series meaning the movies.
Oh, okay.
Honey, I Shrunk, Honey, I Blew Up, Honey, We Shrunk, which was direct
Honey,
to video.
we shrunk ourselves.
Yeah, direct to video crap.
Well, how long has it been since Disney released a version of Home on the Range?
Well, come on. That was
Regardless of that's a really good movie or not, if you wanted to see it,
Yeah.
how far
That's
back
the
would you have
problem.
to
There's
go?
somebody that wants
But
to
they
see
don't
this
want
stuff.
you to see it.
Yeah.
Because they want you to see a movie that you go to the toy store and buy toys. They
Yeah.
want you to see Frozen,
It's
Moana. They want you to watch Cars.
It's interesting how they've gone from release everything, literally everything, to only keep them in the same 6 movies because they
Oh yeah,
the
no.
sequels.
They
totally switched their
Disney's
ethics.
marketing is the savviest ever. They realized very quickly because when I worked at the video store, there were tons of of Disney VHS tapes of the TV shows, stuff that was on, Walt Disney Presents.
Mm-hmm.
They were throwing everything at the wall, right? And that's when Disney figured out, oh, people want to buy these, and Pinocchio was the
Pinocchio
first
was the
sell-through
first,
title.
yep.
And Disney's the one that sets the tone. And now they've realized, look, we're going to pull all that stuff back, and we'll dole it out to you very slowly when we have stuff to market.
Yeah.
That's how they work.
I mean, it really is printing cash for them.
Of course it is, because they've already made it.
Yeah.
These movies have already... Beauty and the Beast already made $100 million back in the early 90s.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it went to Broadway.
I have a friend who did a voice in Beauty and the Beast, and he's like, oh, I just got a nice
Yeah,
residual
sure.
check. He's like, and he'll look, he's like, oh, they just re-released it or whatever, and it's crazy.
But there's one Disney one that got
Song of the South.
one release, very short, and it was gone. Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Did they get a DVD release?
No.
Okay,
VHS only, like
I've never seen
1985. No, you'll never see it.
that. Well, why did they release it? What was it that made them say, we're going to finally do it? We're going to let this out
Well,
there. see what
85
people
would have
think
been
of
the
it."
Eisner days, right?
Oh, they just released it because it was part of the catalog.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to them that somebody would be offended, because back then people just... Here's the thing. Back in 1985, if you got offended, what were you going to do?
Yeah, right.
Write a letter?
Yeah, there was no...
Now you can
couldn't
get on
tweet
the
about it.
internet, and you can have a hashtag and a tweet.
Yeah.
So they can't release Song of the South, which is unfortunate because
I've never seen it.
it's a classic movie,
Wow.
but it commits the awful sin. Do you know why they can't release it?
Well, racism, but I don't know if this.
It's not there's no racism. in the
because
movie.
he's a happy slave.
He's happy.
Yeah.
He's not aggressively trying to overturn and escape.
Yeah.
But that's not the story.
Yeah. That's
not the story that was told. And I know that Bob Iger, when he first
He
took
said
over,
he was going to release it.
they had Denzel Washington, who was going to sit down and tell you, the viewer, context-wise about this movie. And even Iger said, even with that, we can't release it.
It's not. It can't be that bad.
It's not that it's that bad. It's
it's the
that people
Disney
will
prestige,
take it
so-
bad. Disney can't take a hit like that.
I feel
Not
like
Disney, yeah.
I feel like most people would finally see it and be like, "Oh,
That's it?
what was the fuss about?"
Right.
But I don't know.
You know the thing in Fight Club where the narrator's job is to assess problems in cars and then to base out whether they're going to lose more money in lawsuits or in sales. And if it's in if it's in sales, they don't institute a recall.
Yeah.
They just let people die and pay them off. Well, Disney's thinking is, how much money would we make versus what would we have to deal with?
I think if they released it, everybody would buy.
Of course they would. They've got an attraction at the park.
I know.
Based on a movie nobody in this
Has
generation
seen.
has
It's true.
ever seen. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's truly amazing. And I'm sure Tony Baxter, when they put Splash Mountain together, said, well, it has to come out eventually, right?
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
But they fixed what do you call it? Fantasia. Fantasia had racism in it, and they just clipped it out. The problem with this one is that Uncle Remus is the main character.
Yeah.
You know? Here's the thing, though. You're talking about Zippity Doodah.
I know, that's amazing. The Zippity, yes.
You're talking about Zippity freaking
Yeah,
Doodah.
an iconic song, still used in everything.
Yeah. Do you know the other iconic song that Disney uses, but they don't use it the way they used to, is When You Wish Upon a
When You Wish
Star,
Upon a Star.
because they don't own it.
They don't
I was
own it?
told somebody else owns the rights, so when they use it, they pay a fee. That's why. Otherwise, they'd slap it on everything. When you,
I mean, all of-
it's in all the fireworks shows and
It
stuff.
plays on a loop at the castle every day.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, somebody's getting a check, is what I heard.
I gotta look into that. I've never heard that.
You're the expert. You're the
I
Disney
know,
guy. You
that's-
tell me.
I have never heard that before.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Jeff DePauli, everybody.
Woo! Thanks for having me.
This show was your idea. Thanks for
well,
coming
because
over.
I heard you talking about the video stuff, and I was literally talking back. I was like, yes, and I was like, oh man, I loved my Blockbuster days.
I did too, and originally I didn't care for Blockbuster because it looked to me like big corporate was coming in and squashing the little guy. We're going to become a music town next week, you know?
Yeah.
But when I worked there, it was all, other than, management screwing me over with this and that, the actual, what the job was, it was great.
Yeah.
Because I liked being a customer there. And when I worked there, it didn't diminish the specialness of going to rent, because you got to rent movies.
Yeah,
Everybody
really
rented
loved
movies.
It was great.
The alternative when I moved here to Buena Park was we rented movies at Tower Records. And they were complete.
Tower Records rented movies?
The one here in Anaheim did.
Oh, I never knew that. That's interesting.
They had a whole wall of movies. And their big thing was they had a lot of movies nobody else had, a lot of obscure titles, which was great. But the prerequisite for working there was you were a complete snob. Oh, renting this one, are we? Like, just check it out to me.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Hate that. You miss Blockbuster, right, Austin?
Oh, I totally miss Blockbuster because what mounted most was, what I grew up with was, besides the children's films that are now readily available, we don't live in an age now where Disney movies or prestiges. You can go out and buy Lion King any day. Unless you want to see Song of the South, you can see any Disney movie on any instant
Even
video
Lion
service.
King 1.5?
Even Lion King 1.5.
I mean, they still put them in the vault, but there's a lot more
There's
people
enough
selling
There's
them on
enough
eBay,
outlets, yeah. But especially with video games, there's still no way to play most Nintendo games from that era. They won't print them, they won't release them, they go for $400 on eBay. A lot of the Wii titles and GameCube titles that are rare or really rare. It was really nice to go to the Blockbuster and rent and play a game that I normally wouldn't have the chance to play.
Yeah.
That's what made it special.
Plus-
Trying something new. Going
Plus,
out on a limb.
imagine the kids who are born after you are never going to have that fun of, hey, where are we going? We're going to the Blockbuster. It's a Blockbuster night.
Yeah, we're going to try something new. Went to game and a movie.
Oh, you're going to make me get all misty-eyed.
I know.
Because it's fun.
It is fun.
I even like their
yeah.
plastic bags that we put the tapes in. They were
Yeah.
good quality white bags with the blueprint on it.
Yeah, and they hung right on the side there. So you could open one side, throw the movies in, and then pull it
That was
off.
great.
It was the only way I
Now
was
they
able...
charge 10 cents for
Yeah,
that.
don't get me started on that. I hate living in California.
It was-
I love my job, but I hate living in California.
It was the only way I was able to experience the Star Wars animated cartoon Droids, which I loved.
Droids.
And we ended up buying from that Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting if a Blockbuster type of place did come back and content was created that you could only get there?
That'd be the only way they could be
Yeah.
sustainable.
Yeah, basically, when if Netflix created their version of Blockbuster, it's
Yeah.
like, guess what? The Stranger Things is leaving the stream, but you can still
You can
get
still
it
get
in
it
our
here. That's a
stores.
great idea.
You know?
Or what if it looked exactly like a Blockbuster,
Yeah.
but you were buying the movies?
Yeah.
You know, that'd be the only way I think it
Yeah.
could just be sustainable.
Because no one's going to rent these films anymore for what they're charging
And-
compared to what you can get them for.
Right, and I only say that because we go to Book Off in Westminster, which they have thousands of movie titles, and I'm just like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to buy more, and more, even if I know I don't have time to watch them, and I don't.
I remember when VHS became like super affordable. So for a long time, everything was $20. VHS tape, you know, $20,
And
20
then-
bucks. Then it was, for me, I remember it was 1993 or 4, where Jurassic Park and Nightmare Before Christmas came out at the same time, and they were $10.
Yeah,
And I was like, well, these are huge movies. Why are these $10?
There was one before that.
What was
for
that?
me? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Was that only
It was $1.99,
brand new?
brand new.
Oh, weird.
Live Entertainment, Live.
Yeah.
They put them out in bare bones. It was a cassette,
Yeah.
white label, black, boom, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
And we got, I remember the truck came and I'm like, you guys are joking. We must have got 500 cassettes.
Wow.
And a month later, we didn't have any. $1.99. Boom.
Yeah.
Because
That's cheaper than renting.
the people who made that movie had no idea if it was going to be a hit or not. And when
Yeah.
it turned out to be a massive hit that rivaled at the same time Pretty Woman, they were like, we've hit lightning in a bottle. And they wanted to hit it hard, so they sold them.
Wow.
Same with the other one was Batman, the Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah.
Retail was $14.99, but because you could go to a gas station, everybody had a display.
That's right.
You could pick up Batman for about $3.99, brand new.
I remember McDonald's starting selling VHS too. Like they had to deal with Universal. I remember Back to the Future was one of the
Yeah.
options, and I want to say an American Tail, Fievel.
Yes, that was the move that shook the industry.
Yeah.
Because they said if McDonald's becomes, even if they have like a little rack of
Yeah.
tapes, they're going to put us all out of business.
Yeah.
I remember that being a real touchy subject because they tried it a few times. They did a Paramount one too, where you get planes, trains, and automobiles, and like Footloose, and that was revolutionary. But they were like $3.99 with
Yeah.
a purchase. But again, like you said, they were $20, and suddenly I can get a movie for $4. Oh, I
Yeah.
gotta have that.
Yeah, the libraries became huge. Your library was just crazy.
I used to go to Target, and every time we went to Target, I would get a VHS,
Yeah.
like just to build my collection. And then I found myself a year later buying all the same movies on DVD
yeah.
at full price.
How excited were you though when DVD first started coming and started replacing them? I was just so happy to have the shelf space back.
Oh, that's yes.
Because at one point it was like exciting to have so many, and then it was like, oh my god, this is taking up a ton of space.
Yeah, because I had VHS tapes and laser discs.
Wow.
I just coming out my ears.
Yeah.
When we went to move, Rachel was like, "You've got to do something," because a box of laser discs
Yeah.
weighs like 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Well,
Anywho.
live from Blockbuster, we are here. We have to return our movie. Your movies are due back,
Oh
sir.
man, that late fee is going to be huge.
Your movies are due back.
I think I own them at this point, right?
Yes. Well, the last one officially closed in Hawaii, right?
I don't know.
And they were like doing something about.
Well, wasn't Rachel saying there's a couple in Texas or
Yeah,
something?
but I don't think those are. The Blockbuster company doesn't exist anymore.
Does it
Family
not?
owned. They
Yeah,
just have the name.
they just have the
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Yeah,
How fun.
wouldn't that be funny to open a store and call it Blockbuster? Like nobody can sue me.
Well, they did
'cause-
that with
Socket City.
the
No?
food place.
Oh, Noggles.
Noggles.
Yeah.
The guy picked up the Noggles name because after so many years, anybody can do it. So
Yeah.
yes, you and I could pick up and open up our own Blockbuster.
It happened with Socket City.
I'll be Dante, you be Randall, and we'll just run it all day.
We'll have a lot of copies of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
You love that movie.
I love that.
Why do you like that movie so much?
I
think it's a good
I was that
movie.
age. I was 1989. I was 7. It was. You know what was so magical about it? No pun intended. It was the age of free. When you remember when Disney Channel, you had to pay for it,
Yeah.
and they'd always a couple times a year have the free weekend.
People don't understand when the cable first came around. If you wanted the Disney Channel, it was $25 above your bill.
Yeah.
So if you went to a kid's house and they had Disney Channel, they had money.
Yeah, so we did not have that, but they had the free weekends, and they'd always have great stuff on.
They want to pull you in.
Yeah, so it was a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids weekend, and that was the first time I saw it because I did not see it in theaters originally. I actually just recently saw it on the big screen for the first time, and it was heavenly. Like,
Oh wow!
It looked.
I saw it
so
opening
beautiful.
night.
Did you?
Because it had tummy trouble attached
Tummy trouble,
to it.
yes. Well, so little name droppy here for a second. I just had Don Hahn on my podcast, and I said to him specifically, I was like, listen, I got to talk to you about one of the projects you worked on simply because it's attached to one of my favorite movies. He was a producer on Tummy Trouble, and I literally talked to him about that just to talk about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But
just to get the foot in the door.
exactly. So it was that free weekend, so it was like exciting. I mean, you sat in front of the TV all weekend when you got that free weekend. So that was me seeing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I love Rick Moranis. I was really into special effects as a kid in the movies, and like, gosh, the special effects in that movie were incredible, and they were all like real. They weren't computer generated. So I love it. I mean, the poster hangs in my bedroom.
What's the ant's name?
Auntie?
Auntie.
Yeah.
The poster with the dog where they're coming off his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're jumping. Which direction is it? I think off of the dog onto Rick Moranis' nose.
That's right.
And
my big thing was I went and saw the movie opening night because it was Joe Johnston who had designed most of the vehicles in Star Wars.
Okay.
So I was like, we have to support Joe Johnston because the guy wants to be a movie director now. You know, he next summer did Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Or the summer after that, something like that.
Did you love it when you saw it? 'Cause
Well,
what age were you?
I was 17.
Okay,
Oh
so
no, I thought Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was fantastic.
it.
But then Rick Moranis was one of my heroes from SCTV
I love
and
him.
Ghostbusters and how many other millions of fantastic movies he was in. Did you ever see
Little-
My Blue Heaven?
Yeah, I love My Blue
I
Heaven.
love My
It's
Blue
a great
Heaven.
movie. It
Yes.
didn't do well, but I mean that. Speaking of Little Shop of Horrors, like I think Steve Martin and Rick Moranis did that first, right?
Yeah.
Little Shop, and then they did My Blue Heaven together, which is great.
Well, in between Parenthood.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
I love
right.
all those movies.
Yeah, Rick Moranis is great. I adore that man. One of these days, I will meet him.
I'd like to meet him too. He's a cool guy. I know the best Rick Moranis story I ever heard was at a convention where a guy
the jumpsuit.
the jumpsuit.
I think I heard it on your show.
Yeah, the guy was wearing the jumpsuit, and he goes, "Yeah, I was hanging out, and I knew Rick Moranis kinda, and I talked to him, and I told him how much I loved the movie, and he just gave it to me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
because he only wears it in one scene, but it's still Rick Moranis' Ghostbuster costume. Oh my god.
Do you have his CDs?
Oh, his music?
Yeah.
Yes. Something about a 10-gallon hat.
One of them's called The Agoraphobic Cowboy. The other one's called My Mother's Brisket and Other Love Songs.
Yeah, he's
something
a
like that.
funny guy.
So I've got both of those, and yeah, I adore that guy.
Yeah, he's a talented guy.
Well, you know what's amazing about him is he was a leading man in movies.
Yeah, as a schlub.
Him.
Yeah.
Like, he's the anti-leading man, and he was... It's not Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The poster literally says Rick Moranis in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
He was a name. Yeah.
Oh, so good. Little Giants. You ever seen Little Giants?
Little Giants, yeah.
Him and Ed O'Neill were great
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, no, Rick. It'd be hard pressed to find a bad Rick Moranis performance.
There was one. Was it Hearts of Fire or something?
Oh no, Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire.
Yeah, but he's got cool hair in it.
Sure. That's a hard movie to sit through in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be a full-length music video.
Okay.
Walter Hill took it's an experimental movie.
Sure.
Yes.
It looks it. But, anyway, we've been going on.
Club
forever.
Paradise. You ever seen Club Paradise?
No.
Where him and Eugene Levy are guests at the club trying to get chicks the whole time.
Oh no, I've got to see
Oh,
that.
it's Robin Williams. It's a good movie.
Wow.
Has a weird ending, but it's a good movie.
Huh. I
Club
haven't even heard that
Paradise.
one.
I think I might have it. Andrea Martin's in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All SCTV, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Good movie.
great.
He's just one of those guys that was like, I like this guy. But then
yeah.
I was up late watching SCTV,
Yeah.
and he was like every character on there, especially Strange Brew.
Yeah.
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
My introduction to him was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then Little Shop, I think.
You know, what was the last thing he did before he retired? Do you
It was
remember?
either Brother Bear or Brother Bear 2.
Yeah, he was Brother Bear 2, yeah.
That's
God,
his
you're
last-
good, man.
Yeah, it's his last time.
You know
to be
you're
credited.
Disney.
If it's Disney and Rick Moranis, so it was heartbreaking. Just about exactly a year ago, they shut down the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set playground at Walt Disney World at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and I called every connection I had. I just wanted the sign. They had like this sign that said Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure.
Did you call it Surplus Place?
Yeah. Nobody has it. I'm really hoping that we see some remnants of it in the new Toy Story land they're building in the same park. I'm hoping those giant blades of grass or the giant Super Soaker or the giant Play-Doh or something survives and ends up in that land.
Well, the least you could hope for, the most you could hope for is a remake.
No.
They're going to remake it at some point.
No, I will be the crazy guy at one of the shareholder meetings that's going to be like, I'm going to be like, well, here's the insane thing that people know, nobody knows about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It made more money in 1989 than The Little Mermaid.
Oh, no, it was a massive
It was
hit.
a bigger hit than The Little Mermaid.
So, for some reason, the summer of '89 was Fish in a Barrel.
That was Batman, right?
Batman, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, these were
Little
all...
Mermaid.
Well, Mermaid was fall.
Okay.
But these summer movies, almost everything in '89 was gold.
Yeah.
There were a few clunkers, like Clint Eastwood had one called Pink Cadillac. That didn't make any money. But for that summer, everybody turned gold because of Batman. Because people get to the theater and Batman was sold out, and they go see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
You know, and then go, oh, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Matt Frewer is the neighbor.
Yes. It's
Max Headroom.
Such a great. So they don't have a good. They don't have a Blu-ray release. The DVD,
most of the Disney live-action movies in that era do not have Blu-ray releases.
The DVD release is full screen, which is really frustrating.
Ew.
And they already have. Excuse me. They have. The Making of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was on the Disney Channel. The Making of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, which was on the Disney Channel.
Its own attraction.
Yeah. So I want the Blu-ray with the 3 movies, the making of, and the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Yeah.
I want that all in a Blu-ray set.
I would buy that.
And I'll be the crazy guy at the shareholder meeting begging for
And then
that.
you're going to get... Well, funny you should say that, because fourth quarter 2021, Zach Galifianakis is remaking the movie.
No. That would break my heart. Mostly, not only because Rick wouldn't be in it, but because the bugs would be all CG.
Everything would be CGI, even the kids.
Yeah, it would look terrible. So.
All right, well, Jeff
Anyway.
DePaoli, man, almost 2 hours.
I know, I'm sorry.
It went like this.
I know.
No, good
Blockbuster.
conversation, man. Thanks for coming over and having the idea for this fun, great episode. And our movies are due back. We have to get
That's
going.
right.
You want to do the end? Anything you want to plug?
Sure. Go to DisneyCoastToCoast.com. That's everything for the podcast. So if you love Disney, we talk about everything there. So DisneyCoastToCoast.com.
And as you can tell, folks, this guy knows his stuff.
In fact, I think I'm headed to Disneyland when I leave here. So,
That's right. You said you were going to Disneyland.
Yeah, because you're right down the street. So.
What is a golden churro, and why should I care?
The golden churro has to do with Pirates of the Caribbean. And I guess they have because they just celebrated their 50th anniversary of the ride.
Yeah.
So they did golden churros, and I think they had a lemon flavor. People were saying I actually haven't had one, but
I have no idea. We had boysenberry or not. So.
Oh my god, I missed Boysenberry Festival this year, and I'm so bummed.
We got some barbecue sauce. We're gonna make our own meatballs at home.
Very good.
Jeff DePaoli, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You want to do the end? The show is called what?
91 Reasons.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Excuse me. Oh, thank you.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Harris. I didn't see you come in. I haven't seen you in a week or so. Have you been out of town or something?
Oh, no. Our VCR was just in for repairs again. It was awful. Can you imagine trying to make conversation with Mr. Harris? Well, anyway, it's back now.
Good. You know, we have a lot of different movies you might not have seen before. Can I help you find anything in particular?
Oh, thanks. I'll just look around. I'm sure I'll find something.
Yo, Marie. Hey, let's wake up.
Oh, who are you?
The name's Buster. Buster Sales.
Our trailer tape must have jammed.
I am no tape. See?
On the money. Hey! And on video cassette.
Well, what are you doing here?
I am a professional opportunist.
That doesn't sound very nice.
No, not that kind of opportunist. You see, I'm one of the world's greatest authorities on opportunities. I find people who need help, and I help them. And clearly, you need some help, especially with finding opportunities.
I know an opportunity when I see it.
Sure. Like the time Mrs. Harris's son, Brian, asked you out. And you turned him down to go to Jane Allworth's stupid slumber party.
Shh, not so loud. God, his mother is right over there. And anyway, how was I supposed to know he was that hunk friend of Tyler's with the beautiful eyes?
And the tickets to the Bon Jovi concert.
I don't want to discuss that.
Don't worry, she can't hear us. And it's a good thing. Last week you had an opportunity to rent Mrs. Harris a Blockbuster VCP.
Oh, while hers was being fixed? Yeah, but she doesn't need one now. She needed one last week.
So, you had an opportunity to tell her about your rental units 2 weeks ago. Then she'd have known she could rent a VCP from Blockbuster when she needed one.
Yeah, well, I could go tell her now.
Good idea. Oh, and ask her how Brian's doing while you're at it. You might still have a chance with him. We'll talk more about opportunities later.
Oh, Mrs. Harris, I wanted to remind you that we have video cassette players for rent. So if you ever have to put yours in for repair again, you can just stop in here and pick one up.
Well, good. I'm glad to know that. I'll do that next time. Well, as usual, you're out of the new releases I wanted.
Oh, I'm sorry. What movie did you want?
Well, actually, I wanted to see Sean Connery in The Hunt for Red October, but you're out.
Well, I'm sure we have some copies coming in later today. And we probably have some other Sean Connery movies. By the way, how's Brian?
Oh, he's fine. Actually, I thought he might be meeting me here. He has some friends coming over tomorrow night, and I guess he's counting on Mom's delivery service to pick out the music videos. Will you help me here? What do you think I should pick out?
No, I don't think this one.
No?
Yeah, I think I'd go with those two, plus this one. Well, tell Brian I said hi.
Okay.
And I'll see you when you bring those back.
And you think you can spot an opportunity?
Now what? I told her about the VCP rentals, and I helped her pick out a tape.
And that's fine. But didn't you miss something?
What, like a chance to meet Brian?
No. Look at it this way. You have Sean Connery. You add Mrs. Harris's interest. And what do you get? You get more rentals and a happy customer.
I told her we had other Connery movies.
But can you name one? Could you have placed the Connery tape in Mrs. Harris's hand?
I guess so, but sometimes I forget the titles.
Look at it this way. There's 3 basic steps. Remember to listen to your customers because they're giving you clues about their needs. Second, think how Blockbuster can solve those needs. And third, act with good customer service. Get the picture? Look at this list of 50 best videos and commit them to memory. Get to know popular actors and all their movies.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll go tell Brian's mom. I mean, Miss Harris.
Don't be pushy. Just be helpful.
Okay, have this back Saturday night before midnight.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, hi, Kristen. How's it going?
Pretty bogus, actually. I'm babysitting again this weekend. Babysitting's such a drag.
I know how you feel. So you ready to check out?
Sure.
What
You want to keep an eye on this. I see an opportunity coming.
Hey, are you okay? You look a little freaked out.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I was just checking the monitor, that's all. Now, let's see. Oh, I see.
See what? What? Like, am I on hidden videos or something?
No. Hey, Kristen, haven't you checked this video out several times before?
Yeah, at least 5 times. I mean, I could have bought it by now, you know?
Why don't you buy it? You know, all our tapes are for sale.
No kidding? That's great, I'll take it. Oh, and you know what else? My little brother Spike has a birthday coming up. He's a regular Star Trek maniac. He wears Spock ears to school and everything. But if I only knew which show he wanted, I could buy it for him now.
Hey, why don't you rent a tape now and then see if he mentions one of his favorite episodes to you?
Oh, geez, that's a great idea. Now I don't have to give him a Vulcan mind nut or something. Hey, where are your Star Trek videos?
Oh, Brett can show you where.
Thanks.
And I'll just hold these for you. Bye. See you, Kristen. So, how was that?
Not bad. 1 out of 2. Not bad.
What do you mean, 1 out of 2?
Well, you rented and sold Kristen all the tapes she wanted. And that was great. But what about Spike?
Oh, that. Oh, don't worry. She'll be back. She just wanted to figure out which tape you wanted.
She doesn't have to. We have a great solution for customers that aren't sure about the perfect gift.
Oh, you're right. I always forget about the gift certificates until after they've left. I should practice that listen, think, act. Right?
It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.